is Nationwide 90 FM, owned and operated by Nationwide News Network. We broadcast from our studios at 6 Bradley Avenue, Kingston 10, Jamaica. Transmitting on the FM 90 band. 90.3 from Peters Rock in St. Andrew and Murphy Hill in St. Anne. Serving Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine, St. Anne, parts of Clarendon, St. Mary, and St. Thomas. 90.5 from Huntley in Manchester. Transmitting to St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Manchester, Clarendon, rural St. Andrew, and parts of St. Thomas. And 90.7 from Coopers Hill in St. Andrew and Flower Hill in St. James. Serving Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, sections of Trelawney, Kingston, St. Catherine, Clarendon, St. Mary, Portland, and St. Anne. Nationwide 90 FM also broadcasts on the World Wide Web on nationwideradiojm.com and on Flow on channel 916. Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Put your money in motion. Drive VMW, VM Wealth Management. Transform your everyday.
The time by VM Wealth Management is
6 o'clock.
From the studios of Nationwide Radio, morning radio the right way. It's Nationwide This Morning.
A very good morning to you. I'm Tona Thomas. Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning, Monday, July 14, 2025. After Mark Golding uses the B word to register his frustration with a faulty microphone, Andrew Holness warns about the dangers of political drunkenness.
Some people have gotten drunk on just the fumes of power.
Mikhail Phillips says the next PNP government will overhaul the Spark program.
We have a 10-year plan that we're going to come with, dealing with road maintenance with Mark Golding as Prime Minister.
Daryl Vaz says no amount of conspiring and contortions by his critics can stop the rollout of school buses come September.
No amount of evil, no amount of wicked, no amount of bad mind, and no amount of misinformation. Take that from me.
In regional news, today is nomination day in Guyana ahead of September's general election. In international news, South Africa's police chief has been sent home amid claims he's an organized criminal. In sports, 15 wickets fall on Sunday as pink ball dominates day-night test between the Windies and Australia at Sabina Park. And in business, fresh delays to the EU's retaliatory tariffs against the United States. The details after the break.
Have you ever been to a store and felt right at home? The minute you entered, you knew that's where you were meant to be. Picture it. The dedicated warm staff greet you with a smile, show exceptional professionalism, and still make you feel like family. Everything is catered to you. You know you're getting the best because to them, you're the best. That's the New Walters Pharmacy, 18 High Street, Black River. Call 965-2264 or 476-3939. The New Walters Pharmacy. Pharmacy. Everything exceptional.
Catch the first news of the day. A comprehensive package of local, international, sports, and business news. The news at 6 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has aimed a thinly veiled barb at opposition leader Mark Golding, suggesting the PNP president's recent gaffe at a political meeting in St. Anne may have been due to him being drunk on power. Golding has issued an apology for uttering an expletive after becoming frustrated by a malfunctioning microphone as he addressed comrades in southwest St. Anne last Friday. Speaking at a gospel concert hosted by the JLP's Area Council 2 in Old Harbour, St. Catherine on Sunday, Dr. Holness warned about the inebriating effect of power.
There are things that I will readily admit that it is not within my control. And politics, it is like liquor. When you drink too much of it, you get drunk. And people get drunk on power. But even the fumes of power can get you drunk. Some people have gotten drunk on just the fumes of power.
Dr. Holness also had words for the PNP General Secretary, Dr. Dayton Campbell.
There are those who have used the political stage primarily to bring down people, thinking that popularity can be earned through profanity. But I say to you, as I have written to my political party to say, we are not in a race to the gutter. It is said that the General Secretary of the opposing party has said that if we go low, they go lower. We don't join that. We are not into that. No, we can't do that. The Jamaica Labour Party does not and will not trade the dignity of the people for denigration and disgrace. No, we are not going to do that.
Dr. Andrew Holness, JLP leader and Prime Minister. He was speaking at a gospel concert hosted by the JLP's Era Council 2 in Old Harbour, St. Catherine on Sunday. Meanwhile, chairman of the JLP's Communication Task Force, Senator Abka Fitzhenley, says the profanity used by Mark Golding at a PNP meeting last Friday exposes the double standard that undermines the opposition leader's aspiration for higher office. Fitzhenley was speaking at a JLP meeting in Southeast St. Andrew on Sunday.
You have a set of hypocrites. People who talk one thing and they do the next. Because that happened just a couple days after him go on a platform and say him condemn use of profanity. And him say him condemn the use of dirty bad words. But as soon as the mic lock off, him accuss the same dirty bad words. A hypocrite that you cannot take by his word. He cannot be trusted to govern Jamaica.
Senator Abka Fitzhenley, chairman of the JLP's Communication Task Force. The PNP president uttered the expletive on Friday, following issues with the microphone while speaking to comrades at a party meeting in Southwest St. Anne. The video of the gaffe was swiftly deleted from all PNP online platforms, but not before it was captured and shared widely on social media, going viral within hours. Mark Golding apologized for Friday's incident at a PNP meeting on Saturday evening. A future PNP government will relaunch the country's constitutional reform process, marked by broader national input and a more inclusive approach to decision-making. So says the PNP president, Mark Golding.
When it comes to constitutional reform, the PNP is committed to that. The JLP government embarked on a process, but it was a totally misguided process from day one. They appointed a committee, but they didn't really include the representatives of the civil society and other groups who should have been at the table. They selected who they wanted to be there. And they came up with a set of proposals, which is in a bill now before the parliament. Essentially, they are going to ensure that the prime minister can choose the president. And that is a recipe for autocracy in the land, and we will never support it.
The government has blamed the opposition PNP for putting partisan political interests in the path of the reform process. But Mark Golding is dismissing that argument. He says the details of the reform process are problematic.
They're also going to reconfigure the Senate so that the same president who the prime minister can appoint some senators, neutering the veto power that the opposition holds in relation to certain things in parliament, including extensions of states of emergency. When we become government, we're going to restart that whole constitutional reform process. We will keep those bits of it that make sense, but we're going to ensure that civil society has a major role in what we're doing, and we want to hear from the people. We are committed to becoming a republic. We are committed to having our final court being the Caribbean Court of Justice.
Mark Golding, a PNP president. He was speaking at a PNP meeting in Clarendon over the weekend. The opposition PNP is calling on the Integrity Commission to probe what it describes as consistent construction failures that have retarded progress on the second leg of the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project, SHIP. PNP Vice President Mikhail Phillips made the call at a political meeting in North Central Clarendon over the weekend.
We want to call on the Integrity Commission that there needs to be an inquiry on the Southern Coastal Highway project. And I'm going to tell you why, comrades. After the Prime Minister cut the ribbon open for that highway 1 year ago, you still have the contractor digging up that highway with the National Works Agency saying that is bad material.
Multiple sections of the St. Thomas to Portland leg of the ship have collapsed due to what some experts say is substandard base material used in the construction process. In January, the opposition PNP urged the Parliament to undertake a special probe into the problems. At that time, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness noted that much of the damage was caused by leaks to water mains. The contractors say the project is 96% complete, but Mikhail Phillips says that the PNP still has questions.
Why so many failures? Who is it that certified the quarry that supplied them all? Who owned the quarry? And who are the consultants that was employed by the National Works Agency to protect the taxpayers of the country? If them can't answer that question, then from the Prime Minister to a minister down to the head of the National Works Agency should be relieved of their jobs, because some shikini go on in that project. Why taxpayers have to suffer the way that they are suffering?
Mikhail Phillips, PNP Vice President. And Mikhail Phillips says roadwork projects like Spark will be overhauled under a PNP administration.
Spark is another program because election was coming. Them rushed the Spark in. When the PNP comes to government, we're going to have to really look at the whole road infrastructure. Because unlike the Prime Minister who only like to build highways, PNP is coming into the communities. We're coming off of the byways because every Jamaican matter, not only a few. We have to reorganize the road maintenance fund. We have a 10-year plan that we're going to come with, dealing with road maintenance with Mark Golding as Prime Minister.
Mikhail Phillips, the PNP Vice President. The JLP standard bearer for South East St. Andrew, Kevin Frith, is optimistic about winning a seat that is among the safest constituencies for the PNP. Speaking with Cliff Hughes at a JLP workers' meeting in the constituency on Sunday, Frith says voters are ready for change.
When I go through the constituency and talk to the residents, they're not satisfied with the state of things in the constituency. They're really interested in having a change. There's a lot of roads in the constituency that has not been repaired for many, many years. The support for the Jamaica Labour Party is right across. I think this time, based on the works that we have been doing and the persons we have been talking to, people they're ready now to show their support and come out and vote on election day.
Southeast St. Andrew was first contested in 1967. The JLP have won it only one competitive election in 1980 when former PNP Cabinet Minister Alan Isaacs beat John Jr. The JLP, represented by Winston Spalding, took the seat by default when the PNP boycotted the 1983 general election. Since then, Easton Douglas, Maxine Henry Wilson, and Julian Robinson have turned the seat into a PNP stronghold. But Frith, who's a businessman, says he's ready to make history.
There's a lot of youths in the community who are just basically searching for guidance. They need opportunity. There's also business people in the area who need certain support. There are elderlies, there are disabled people. Several elderlies in the area don't even know that they can benefit from pension. And then there are several persons there don't even have a full understanding of certain programs out of the ministry. How I look at Southeast, it is as if it's a company in problems, and I'm coming in as a CEO to turn it around.
Kevin Frith, a JLP standard bearer for Southeast St. Andrew. A conspiracy. That's how Transport Minister Darrell Vaz has labelled a Sunday Gleaner article which alleges that a company, El Hydro, was allowed to import 110 school buses into Jamaica without proper licensing or certification. Minister Vaz has asserted that the Transport Ministry was the official and documented licensed importer of all the buses.
El Hydro would not require to be a certified motor vehicle dealer, which is a yearly certification that Trade Board issues, because these are specialized buses and they are not for resale. So this is a straightforward transaction of supplying the government of Jamaica with 110 school buses. We are the supplier by virtue of the contract that they won, and we are the importer, the government of Jamaica. So again, it is all a part of a political conspiracy with cohorts and co-conspirators, and nothing is going to derail this project to roll out September 2025. No amount of evil, no amount of wicked, no amount of bad mind, and no amount of misinformation. Take that from me.
On Sunday, the minister issued a statement declaring that El Hydro was authorized to facilitate the importation of the buses because it is the exclusive agent in Jamaica and the wider Caribbean for the manufacture of the bus model being used in the school bus program. He also sought to clarify that while El Hydro received permission from the Trade Board to manage the logistics, it was not required to be a registered used car dealer. This, as buses were not being imported for resale, but for direct use in a government program. The transport minister says he was not contacted by the reporter at the Gleaner prior to the publication of the story.
The Gleaner headline is totally disingenuous and erroneous. The facts are very clear, and what I'm very concerned about is that the reporter that wrote that article WhatsApps me regularly on other issues to do with portfolio responsibilities. And I don't quite understand why that wasn't done this time, so we would have not had to go through this. The fact of the matter is that the 110 buses, the import license is in the name of the Ministry of Science, Energy, Telecommunications and Transport. So no letter that has been written can override or supersede that.
Darrell Vaz, a transport minister. 258 fewer people have been murdered so far this year. That's according to the latest crime data from the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF. Between January 1 and July 12, the country recorded 370 homicides. That's a 41% drop when compared to the 628 killed during the corresponding period in 2024. All parishes except Portland and St. Mary have recorded declines in murder. Both parishes recorded an increase of 1 in comparison to the 2024 review period. Pointing to the results at a political meeting in St. Elizabeth over the weekend, JLP leader Dr. Andrew Holness says his administration has proven that it can tame the crime monster.
We have the best record of getting things done. Whether it is crime and violence, right now, St. Elizabeth has a 62% reduction in murders. Nationally, we are at about 42% reduction in murders. Effectively, a problem that many of you think we could never get on top of, with a murder rate in the top 5 highest in the world, at somewhere about 49 per 100,000. We cut that in half now. Our murder rate annualized would be somewhere about 20 to 25 per 100,000.
And Dr. Andrew Holness, a Prime Minister and JLP leader. And that's it for the local segment of the news. Up next, regional and international.
Be in the know. Learn how local government is working for you. Follow us on Instagram and X at LocalGovJA and on Facebook at Ministry of Local Government and Community Development. The time by the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development is
6:17.
There's nothing sweeter than coming home to your loved ones, but one bad decision on the roadway can change everything. It's not just about debts. Some never walk again. Some can't work. Families are left struggling to care for loved ones and pick up the pieces. Jamaica, let's slow down on the road. Your life means everything to the ones who love you. A message from the Island Traffic Authority.
In regional and international news this morning, regional news, today is nomination day in Guyana, ahead of general elections set for Monday, September 1. The Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, says all systems are go for today's nomination activities at Umana Yana in the capital, Georgetown, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Umana Yana, recognized as one of Guyana's national monuments, is an indigenous Guyanese term meaning meeting place of the people. Hundreds of candidates are expected to be nominated at the landmark to battle for places in the 65-seat National Assembly. GECOM says it's coordinating all logistical and procedural arrangements to ensure a smooth, transparent, and inclusive nomination process in line with the legal framework and established guidelines. International, the BBC is reporting that South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has placed Police Minister Shenzo Mchunu on an immediate leave of absence amid allegations of links to organized crime. In a televised speech to the nation on Sunday, Ramaphosa also announced a judicial commission would probe the claims, which he said undermined the Constitution and threatened national security. A law professor, Firoz Kashalia, had been appointed as interim police minister. The 67-year-old Mchunu has denied any wrongdoing, saying he stands ready to respond to the accusations against him. Ramaphosa has been under growing public pressure to act swiftly over the high-profile case. Mchunu is an influential figure in Ramaphosa's African National Congress Party. Political analysts have suggested he could run for a leadership position at the ANC's next elective conference in 2027. And that's it for regional and international. Up next, sports.
Looking for superior quality transportation from an international award-winning provider? Well, look no further. Choose Island Car Rentals, Jamaica's leading car rental company, setting the standard for ground transportation in Jamaica. For over 50 years, Island Car Rentals has been your trusted partner for reliable, top-quality vehicles. But we're more than just a car rental company. Need an airport transfer at any hour? Heading out of town and want to travel in style with a private chauffeur? Need a truck to rent for business or personal use? Or maybe you need a customized shuttle or tour for a large or a small group? Whatever your transportation need, Island Car Rentals has you covered. Call us today at 876-926-8012 or 876-929-5875 or visit www.islandcarrentals.com to book your next trip. Because Island people take better care of you. For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10 or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales for a better choice in the electrical business.
Time now for your morning sports. Australia will take a lead of 181 in today's third day of the third and final test against West Indies at Sabina Park. The Aussies finished day two of the day-night affair on 99 for 6 in their second innings. Cameron Green, 42, and captain Pat Cummins, 5, are the not-out batsmen. Azari Joseph took 3 wickets and Shamar Joseph 2. The Windies were bowled out for 143 in their first innings. John Campbell made 36 and Shea Hope 23. Scott Boland took 3 wickets while Josh Hazelwood and Cummings picked up 2 apiece. Scores in the match so far: Australia 225 and 99 for 6, West Indies 143. Jamaica's two-member rhythmic gymnastics team of Manasseh Sanampudi and Isabella Campbell secured a historic podium finish at the CAC Championships now underway in El Salvador. This is also the first time Jamaica was competing in rhythmic gymnastics at the championships. Campbell finished third in the floor routine, while Sanampudi finished seventh. Sally Pearson and Christian Taylor have been named ambassadors for the World Athletics Championships Tokyo 25, with 2 months to go until the 20th edition of the Global Showpiece in Japan. Australia's Pearson and USA's Taylor have claimed 6 World Championships titles between them and will both be in Tokyo to see the sport's current stars go for gold medals of their own during 9 days of action from September 13 to 21. Nationwide 90 FM will have live coverage of the championships. Arnott Gardens spoiled Fraser's Whip's 100% win record when they held the leaders to a 1-1 draw in the Jamaica Women's Premier League on the weekend. Tatiana Black gave Arnott the lead in the 75th minute, but Chanel Buckley scored with the last play of the match to ensure the defending champions came away with a share of the points. In other results, Cavalier blanked Real Mobay 8-0. Proven Girls beat Springers United 2-0. UWI Women beat Federal United 4-1. Meanwhile, Wi-Fi United and Mile Gully played out a 0-0 draw. That's it for Morning Sports.
Outperform, outlast, with top performance, Jackama, reliable, full stop, not comma. We have the expertise for drilling and demolition. We have the power tools for plumbers and electrician. Fancy leg tools, 3 parts and 3 repairs. 3 parts, 3 repairs. In 2 to 3 years. Hilton, available at Delta Supply, 106 Hagley Park Road. Call us at 876-302-61124. Delta Supply, we service what we sell.
In business this morning, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen says the EU's retaliatory tariffs on U.S. exports have been delayed again. The countermeasures, which were due to start on Tuesday, came in response to U.S. President Donald Trump's initial import taxes on steel and aluminium. The EU's retaliation, which would have hit 21 billion euros worth of U.S. goods, was first suspended in March. Von der Leyen told a press conference on Sunday that this break has been extended until early August. EU trade ministers are expected to meet in Brussels on Monday to discuss how to respond. It comes after Trump wrote a letter to von der Leyen announcing his plans to impose 30% tariffs on EU imports from August 1. He warned that if the trade partner retaliated with import duties of their own against the U.S., he would hit back by raising tariffs above 30%. In a pre-recorded interview with Fox News, which aired on Saturday night, Trump said some countries were very upset now, but he insisted the tariffs meant hundreds of billions of dollars were pouring in to the U.S. The Bank of England is prepared to make larger interest rate cuts if the job market shows signs of slowing down. That's according to the bank's governor, Andrew Bailey. Bailey says he really doesn't believe the path is downward on interest rates. Interest rates currently stand at 4.25% and will be reviewed at the bank's next meeting on August 7, when many economists expect the rate will be cut. They affect mortgage, credit card, and savings rates for billions of people. Bailey says the UK's economy was growing behind its potential, opening up slack that would help to bring down inflation. Slack refers to the amount of unused resources in an economy, such as working factories that are not producing anything or people who cannot find a job. And in foreign exchange trading this morning, the Jamaican dollar will open trading, selling for an average $161.19 against the benchmark US dollar. The Jamaican will open selling for an average $118.17 against the Canadian. And finally, the Jamaican will begin trading for an average $216.96 against the British pound. That's it for business this morning.
Clear your barrels and personal shipments with ease and convenience. Request customs contactless clearance today through CCP at jca.gov.jm. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
6:29.
Taxi drivers, ready to start earning more money? Join Amber on Time, Jamaica's taxi app built just for you. Zero commission in the first month, no catch. Plus get a free vehicle tracker to protect you and your ride. Stolen vehicle recovery and panic alarm response included. Download the Amber Captain app today and start driving. Or roll through to our office at 30 Westminster Road, Kingston and sign up on the spot. So whether you're the Kingston, Mobay, Ochi or anywhere else, work there. Come take advantage.
Are you burning up with this summer heat? The place hotty, man. Get cool now with a Hisense air conditioner. I feel good. With advanced energy-saving inverter technology and whisper quiet operation. Beat this heat with Hisense. Available at Aliaber Brands Limited, 64 Hagley Park Road, or call 876-676-5951 now.
So good. So good. I got to you.
Have you ever been to a store and felt right at home? The minute you entered, you knew that's where you were meant to be. Picture it. The dedicated one staff greet you with a smile, show exceptional professionalism, and still make you feel like family. Everything is catered to you. You know you're getting the best, because to them, you're the best. That's the new Walters Pharmacy, 18 High Street, Black River. Call 965-2264 or 476-3939. The new Walters Pharmacy. Pharmacy, everything exceptional.
I come just now to say thank you, O King. You're not just a part of my life, but my everything. Your love reaches way down deep within, passes human understanding. There will always be a song for you I'll sing. One word alone just can't express my heart's desire. Gratitude for one more day my needs supply. Your warm embrace and tenderness, patient with me through all my mess. I come to one conclusion: you are the best.
I see you doing the same thing. Adjusting our new earpieces, turning them up as we greet you.
One piece of martial arts behind the scenes.
Indeed. A lot of gymnastics taking place. But we're here. And good morning to you. You're tuned in to Nationwide This Morning, NTM, the big show. Thank you so much for coming on over and joining us this Monday morning. It is Monday, July 14, 2025. Happy Monday to all our YouTubers or peeps out there in Radio Land joining us on the FM band 90.3, 0.5, 0.7.9. And hello to all our friends joining us from the app or from the website. Good morning. I'm Tawna Thomas, and once George gets the giggles out, he'll definitely say his full name. Is what?
I told myself to avoid the urge. Mm-hmm. Because we had mic trouble this morning, I was just tempted to come so.
Oh dear.
Hey. Yo. Hey. Anyway.
That is fast becoming a thing.
Let me tell you this. I want to say good morning to all of our friends in the politics.
Yeah.
PNP, GLP, everybody. I want to say good morning to the opposition leader, Mark Golding. Good morning to Kerencia Morrison. You see Kerencia Morrison?
Mm-hmm.
Miss Morrison, you need to learn how to behave yourself. Oh boy, Miss Morrison, you need to behave better. As a respectable woman, yes? The Northeast St. Catherine Member of Parliament. Anyway, composure. All right, so... All right. You know, I spent... Oh, there's something I have for you for 1 o'clock today in the production meetings. You need to, well, you're always there and early. Tell Mr. Carter, say, him can't come for you early today.
Very
yeah,
good.
but for relax. Yeah, today is very important. So some things I found that I'm going to share with you and the team as we prepare for, this big dance.
Yes.
But messaging in politics is an art. The crafting of the message, the delivery of the message, there's an art to those things. Staying on message is also an art. And what we can say is that our friends on Team Orange have let themselves down where 1, the message crafting is concerned, 2, the message delivery is concerned, and 3, staying on message is concerned. 3 things interrelated, but there's one distinct part of that troika of things I just mentioned. Notice in this election campaign so far, those things which the PNP signposted in the budget debate as being its offering to the Jamaican people, to put them into office. Even though the official campaign period has not started. The official campaign period is that period when nomination day is known and election day is known and you are running a dead run right to the election. That's the official campaign period. But there's no pretense about it. We're in full campaign mode and we've been so for a while. The big ideas from the budget debate, the PNP has not been telling the Jamaican people about them. When I look back at Julian Robinson's presentation, he was the first of the 2 PNP contributors in the budget debate. And he spoke of the 4 E's: energy, efficiency, emerging economies, and education. Apart from a response to the JLP's decision to signal to the JPS that they're not renewing the contract under the current terms when the thing comes, what else has anyone heard from the PNP about energy on the campaign trail? That would count as a failure in messaging. Efficiency. What have our friends from the PNP said about efficiency on the campaign trail? I don't hear anything. So if you've heard, tell me. And when you hear, tell me. Emerging economies, as articulated by Julian Robinson. When have the PNP spoken about their emerging economies idea as put on the table by Julian Robinson during the budget debate? It is under education that we've heard something from them on the campaign trail. And it's almost by book up because education has come to the fore because of their criticism of the school bus program. And this is what I mean by the difference in the 3 things I mentioned, because your own ideas have not been given the oxygen for the flames to burn brightly or the flames to spark at all on the campaign trail. And it is in your criticism of something that the JLP has put on the table that you've then had to pivot back to your policy to make it all make sense. In other words, because the rural school bus program sounds so good and appears to be something on which an election can turn, the PNP went full force into attacking it without testing the message that they were carrying and without working out how best to communicate their opposition to it. After you've tested the message, to say, okay, this is what we're going to say, this is how we're going to say it. It has blown up spectacularly, as we all have seen. And it is only after it blew up that the PNP has been trying to say, oh, well, what about our ride and ease idea from our budget speech? This is what we're going to do on the ride. This is how ease complements ride, so forth, so forth. So it is the JLP's message on that aspect of education, which includes transporting students, that has been foremost on the PNP's campaign, rather than the PNP's own message about ride and ease being foremost on the PNP's campaign. That is not the best way to go about it, and they know. So here's the thing now. You come to the point where you say the school bus program, as articulated by the government, is dodgy, faulty, now work, kill off people, pick, now all of the inflammatory things that have been said. Everybody knows now what the JLP's plan is, thanks to the PNP. How many people at random you walk up to them somewhere and said, okay, what is at the heart of the PNP's ride and ease program, complementary programs to solve one of the big problems in education? Precious people will be able to tell you about it because the party hasn't spent time talking about it. As you look at the messenger, I noticed Peter Bunting was conspicuous by his absence from the big happenings on the weekend on the campaign trail. I don't know if he has taken himself away, because certainly nobody can tell him to go away. If he's been stood down by his own decision. But when you look at who is carrying the message for the PNP, Bunting has not been known to be one of the most dynamic campaign speakers. But we understand why he has to take a front and center role on the campaign. Because, listeners, viewers, it's all about positioning. Remember, the PNP is on a mission to take Jamaica House. That's their plan. That's what they're working for. But it can go wrong. They can lose. And so, down to the seat that Bunting has chosen, South Manchester, he has calculated and strategized. I need to put myself in a position to give myself the best chance of getting into Jamaica House. Because if this thing goes belly up and we lose, I would still stand a very good chance of getting into Gordon House. Not as a senator, but of course as a member of the House of Representatives. And if this PNP loses, it's very likely that there'll be new leadership. Him can run the party from the Senate, which of course is why we're in this position with Mark Golding as leader. Isn't it true? So, someone who this kind of messaging is not their forte, Bunting has many strengths. A dynamic political campaign speaker is not one of them, as has been proven palpably clear. But he has to be there, has to be perhaps intruding on the message delivery. Perhaps Dayton Campbell, the General Secretary, wouldn't prefer it that way, but no one of bad blood, so he lets certain things go. And Bunting has helped to talk the PNP into a hole where this transportation of students is concerned, when so over the top, when a wily campaign speaker would have known that, well, this is too much. Let me take a little dig at it, take a little nibble, and ease off. So a lot of things wrapped into it. Messenger, you can't get the messenger wrong. Message, you can't get the message wrong. Messaging, you can't get the messaging wrong either. And someone will say, but George, how you know that the message wrong? You know how I know the message wrong? I was happy the weekend is over. The number of calls and WhatsApp messages I've fielded from people sympathetic to the PNP, trying to fight their corner where the school bus thing is concerned. Everything them saying, aha, this proves that the bus program, as articulated by Vaz, is a sham. When they get the rebuttal, all right, well, what about this? Aha! Person after person, message after message, with it tired, overwhelmed, circuit overload. And that proves that the vloggers and the sympathizers who've been pressed into service, realizing that real damage was done by virtue of the message, by virtue of the messaging, and how the messenger helped to compound mistakes made on the headline message and headline messaging. And all I have to say is that these people know the politics far better than I do. They're practitioners. But they should know it's a fatal error one makes when it gets the 3 M's wrong.
It's This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6:48.
JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union offers financial solutions for every stage in your life: savings, auto loans, mortgages, and more. The Temperature by JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union, your financial partner for life, is
27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 23 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
Have you ever been to a store and felt right at home? The minute you entered, you knew that's where you were meant to be. Picture it. The dedicated One staff greet you with a smile, show exceptional professionalism, and still make you feel like family. Everything is catered to you. You know you're getting the best, because to them, you're the best. That's the New Walters Pharmacy, 18 High Street, Black River. Call 965-2264 or 476-3939. The New Walters Pharmacy. Pharmacy, everything exceptional.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Time of a Street Smart Squad with Ludlow Buckley. Good morning, Ludlow.
Morning, George. Morning, Turner.
Hey, to you, Ludlow.
It's a beautiful morning, but I see a slight, the sun being obscured by the cloud, right? That is the sun is being obscured by the cloud. But what is happening on the road? Roadways are looking nice and movements of vehicles, no problems at all. Even the busy thoroughfare, Washington Boulevard, along Spanish Town Road and coming down Redhills Road, coming down Constant Spring. I would say the busiest here is heading into Harper Street. But generally speaking, it's all clear. The lights are working in those areas. Hope Road all the way up past Arden Road, going further up towards East Kingdales Road and Ladymoor Street. It's pretty good going at the moment. So you won't have any problems. And there are large gaps of in between traffic. There are large gaps. So you won't have much of a problem at this time. Let's see what happens come 7/8. But I still want to urge our listeners, as you traverse, remember the Road Traffic Act. We go back to you in the studio, George. Back to you.
Thank you, Ludlow. Ludlow there with Street Smarts. One up next, Word of the Day.
Your word of the day is spelled H-E-Y-D-A-Y, spelled H-E-Y-D-A-Y.
Heyday. Heyday. Heyday.
Heyday is your word of the day. It's a noun, heyday, meaning the stage or period of greatest vigor, strength, success. Or a synonym, prime. Heyday is your word of the day. Dictionary.com telling us that heyday was first recorded between 1580 and 1590. Dictionary.com saying it's a variant of high day. apparently by confusion with heyday. Heyday is your word of the day, first recorded between 1580 and 1590. To use heyday in a sentence or two, Dictionary.com says, in their heyday, the hospitals were seen as models of progressive care. This one provided by the Los Angeles Times. In their heyday, the hospitals were seen as models of progressive care. Another for you. Let's see what else is here. This one says, the paper has lost millions of readers since its heyday in 1964. This one says the 1940s and 50s were the heyday of the musical. On the wall was a picture of Brigitte Bardot in her heyday. A final one, each track sounds like it comes from Motown Records in its 70s heyday. Heyday is your word of the day. One I'm sure you'll be able to use quite simply. Heyday, Heyday, meaning the stage or period of greatest vigor, strength, or success. The synonym for heyday is prime. Up next, your features. At the top of the hour, the news.
Today on Living Well, get up, stand up. Stand up for your lives. This is by far my favorite song from the late, great Robert Nesta Marley. Of course, I have changed the last word in the title to lives. This being said, I'm using this title to make a very important point. We're being besieged by many things externally and internally that is threatening to drag us to the abyss. Our mental health is under siege, physical health and spiritual health. However, since this contributor can only comment at this time about the things that impact our health, let's get started. Every single person should take the time to learn and understand what is happening in the environment, which in this case, the immediate environment being Jamaica, and the external one every place else outside of Jamaica, especially those places that impose and enact international trade laws. Let's walk it out together. Some of the following quotes can be attributed to the Pan American Health Organization. There are 2,512.77 tons of pesticides imported into Jamaica in 2005 and 3,056.31 tons in 2010. Adopting more environmentally friendly farming practices would decrease the amount of pesticides used, benefiting the agricultural sector. Close quote. Over the past 25 years, non-communicable diseases have become the leading cause of death in Jamaica. In 2009, diseases of the circulatory system, neoplasms, endocrine, and metabolic diseases, and diseases of the respiratory system accounted for approximately 60% of deaths among men and 75% of deaths among women. Diabetes is responsible for considerable morbidity and mortality in Jamaica and is a significant burden for the country's health services. It was the second leading cause of death for Jamaicans under the age of 70 in 2009. In 2008, diabetes accounted for 12.6% of hospital discharges from government hospitals in patients under 65 years of age, with an average length of stay of 11.9 days. These numbers today are considerably higher. According to the Jamaica Gleaner, in May of 2017, Jamaicans dying from cancer between ages 30 and 64 has gone up by 100%. The total number of cancer deaths in 2015 was 3,621. Let's look back. In 1999, the total number of annual deaths by cancer in Jamaica was 2,697. Most of these deaths were recorded in the 55 to 64 age groups and the 65 to 74 age groups. According to the Global Disease Burden, the death rate or mortality rate per 100,000 people in Jamaica from breast cancer has increased by 33% since 1990. That's about 1.5% per year. I often hear these days that a 1.5% economic growth is not so bad. Well, how is a 1.5% annual increase in death rate from a disease sound to you? In 1990, there were 543 murders, that's 45 per month. In 2016, there was 1,350, that's 112 per month. Yes, one love. In the 1980s, Jamaica was one of the healthiest societies in the world when it came to some of the diseases mentioned above. Our obesity rate was low, and things like diabetes, heart disease, and hypertension was not as prevalent as it is now. Now, we may be living longer, they say, but we are definitely not as healthy. We have been led down the yellow brick road of everyone knows better than we do. Down the road of being disconnected from our food, and down the road of watching sports and playing video games. I'm hearing all the talk about giving children lashes as being violence. Well, the real violence against our children and society as a whole are these: imported food that is not good for human consumption, locally made food that is not good for human consumption, late hours of the night, so-called social media, also keeping you up at night. We live on one of the most beautiful islands of the earth, yet nobody wants to walk or do any physical activity unless they have to. Our minds have been completely changed from what is best and what is natural to us by those who think they know better. Well, if they think they know better, why are so many sick mentally and physically? Get up, stand up for your life. That's Living Well for today. Tune in next time for The Real Violence Against Our Children.
Living Well was brought to you by the New Walters Pharmacy, Black River, St. Elizabeth. Everything exceptional.
Fearless and fair. Nationwide 90 FM.
You've finally moved into your new home, and so you're hosting a housewarming party to show off the new space to your close family and friends. But in preparation, where do you even start? I've got you covered. I'm Tana, and it's time for your lifestyle pages. First of all, you want to send out a save the date to all your invitees. Once that is out the way, begin to craft your official invitation. You can choose to be creative with a theme. Call all your guests to ensure you know their food preferences. You want to make sure you're catering to everyone. On the day of the housewarming party, make sure to point all your guests to where the bathroom is, especially the women. We're always checking and fixing. Plan activities. You know, once the meet and greet and the tour is over, persons will be standing by to see what next is coming. I'm Tana. Until next time, that has been your Lifestyle Pages.
Nationwide 90 FM, continuing the tradition of fair, fearless, and factual reporting.
Jamaica, let's make road safety a priority. Slow down, stay focused. Remember, every life matters. The time brought to you by the JIS is...
News time, 7 o'clock.
If you need to build it, plumb it, weld it, pave it, or power it, National Supply has it. Get the best brands for the job at Jamaica's Industrial Hardware Superstore, Kingston Normal Bay. The temperature by National Supply is
27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 23 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
The most credible news in the morning. The news at 7 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Coming up in the news at 7 this morning, Monday, July 14, 2025, after Mark Golding uses the B word to register his frustration with a faulty microphone, Andrew Holness warns about the dangers of political drunkenness.
Some people have gotten drunk on just the fumes of power.
Mikhail Phillips says the next PNP government will overhaul the Spark program.
We have a 10-year plan that we're going to come with, dealing with road maintenance with Mark Golding as Prime Minister.
Daryl Vaz says no amount of conspiring and contortions by his critics can stop the rollout of school buses come September.
No amount of evil, no amount of wicked, no amount of bad mind, and no amount of misinformation. Take that from me.
And in international news, South Africa's police chief has been sent home amid claims he's an organized criminal.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has aimed a thinly veiled barb at opposition leader Mark Golding, suggesting the PNP president's recent gaffe at a political meeting in St. Anne may have been due to him being drunk on power. Golding has issued an apology for uttering an expletive after becoming frustrated by a malfunctioning microphone as he addressed comrades in southwest St. Anne last Friday. Speaking at a gospel concert hosted by the JLP's Area Council 2 in Old Harbour, St. Catherine on Sunday, Dr. Holness warned about the inebriating effect of power.
There are things that I will readily admit that it is not within my control. And politics it is like liquor. When you drink too much of it, you get drunk. And people get drunk on power. But even the fumes of power can get you drunk. Some people have gotten drunk on just the fumes of power.
Dr. Holness also had words for the PNP General Secretary, Dr. Dayton Campbell.
There are those who have used the political stage primarily to bring down people, thinking that popularity can be earned through profanity. But I say to you, as I have written to my political party to say, we are not in a race to the gutter. It is said that the General Secretary of the opposing party has said that if we go low, they go lower. We don't join that. We are not into that. No, we can't do that. The Jamaica Labour Party does not and will not trade the dignity of the people for denigration and disgrace. No, we are not going to do that.
Dr. Andrew Holness, JLP leader and Prime Minister, he was speaking at a gospel concert hosted by the JLP's Area Council 2 in Old Harbour, St. Catherine on Sunday. Meanwhile, Chairman of the JLP's Communication Task Force, Senator Abka Fitzhenley, says the profanity used by Mark Golding at a PNP meeting last Friday exposes the double standard that undermines the opposition leader's aspiration for higher office. Fitzhenley was speaking at a JLP meeting in Southeast St. Andrew on Sunday.
You have a set of hypocrites. People who talk one thing and they do the next. Because that happened just a couple days after him go on a platform and say him condemn use of profanity. And him say him condemn the use of dirty bad words. But as soon as the mic lock off, him accuss the same dirty bad words. A hypocrite that you cannot take by his word. He cannot be trusted to govern Jamaica.
Senator Abka Fitzhenley, chairman of the JLP's Communications Task Force. The PNP president uttered the expletive on Friday following issues with the microphone while speaking to comrades at a party meeting in Southwest St. Anne. The video of the gaffe was swiftly deleted from all PNP online platforms, but not before it was captured and shared widely on social media, going viral within hours. Mark Golding apologized for Friday's incident at a PNP meeting on Saturday evening. A future PNP government will relaunch the country's constitutional reform process, marked by broader national input and a more inclusive approach to decision-making. So says the PNP president, Mark Golding.
When it comes to constitutional reform, the PNP is committed to that. The JLP government embarked on a process, but it was a totally misguided process from day one. They appointed a committee, but they didn't really include the representatives of the civil society and other groups who should have been at the table. They selected who they wanted to be there. And they came up with a set of proposals, which is in a bill now before the parliament. Essentially, they are going to ensure that the prime minister can choose the president. And that is a recipe for autocracy in the land, and we will never support it.
The government has blamed the opposition PNP for putting partisan political interests in the path of the reform process. But Mark Golding is dismissing that argument. He says the details of the reform process are problematic.
They're also going to reconfigure the Senate so that the same president who the prime minister can appoint some senators, neutering the veto power that the opposition holds in relation to certain things in parliament, including extensions of states of emergency. When we become government, we're going to restart that whole constitutional reform process. We will keep those bits of it that make sense, but we're going to ensure that civil society has a major role in what we're doing, and we want to hear from the people. We are committed to becoming a republic. We are committed to having our final court being the Caribbean Court of Justice.
Mark Golding, PNP president. He was speaking at a PNP meeting in Clarendon on the weekend. The opposition PNP is calling on the Integrity Commission to probe what it describes as consistent construction failures that have retarded progress on the second leg of the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project, SHIP. PNP Vice President Michael Phillips made the call at a political meeting in North Central Clarendon over the weekend.
We want to call on the Integrity Commission that there needs to be an inquiry on the Southern Coastal Highway project. And I'm going to tell you why, comrades. After the Prime Minister cut the ribbon open for that highway 1 year ago. You still have the contractor digging up that highway with the National Works Agency saying that is bad material.
Multiple sections of the St. Thomas to Portland leg of the ship have collapsed due to what some experts say is substandard base material used in the construction process. In January, the opposition PNP urged the Parliament to undertake a special probe into the problems. At that time, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness noted that much of the damage was caused by leaks to water mains. The contractors say the project is 96% complete, but Michael Phillips says the PNP still has questions.
Why so many failures? Who is it that certified the quarry that supplied them all? Who owned the quarry? And who are the consultants that was employed by the National Works Agency to protect the taxpayers of the country? If them can't answer that question, then from the Prime Minister to a minister down to the head of the National Works Agency should be relieved of their jobs, because some shikini go on in that project while taxpayers have to suffer the way that they are suffering.
And Michael Phillips says roadwork projects like Spark will be overhauled under a PNP administration.
Spark is another program because election was coming. Them rushed the Spark in. When the PNP comes to government, we're going to have to really look at the whole road infrastructure. Because unlike the Prime Minister who only like to build highways, PNP is coming into the communities. We're coming off of the byways because every Jamaican matter, not only a few. We have to reorganize the road maintenance fund. We have a 10-year plan that we're going to come with, dealing with road maintenance with Mark Golding as Prime Minister.
Michael Phillips, PNP Vice President. The JLP standard bearer in Southeast St. Andrew, Kevin Frith, is optimistic about winning a seat that is among the safest constituencies for the PNP. Speaking with Cliff Hughes at a JLP workers' meeting in the constituency on Sunday, Frith says voters are ready for a change.
When I go through the constituency and talk to the residents, they're not satisfied with the state of things in the constituency. They're really interested in having a change. There's a lot of roads in the constituency that has not been repaired for many, many years. The support for the Jamaica Labour Party is right across. I think this time, based on the works that we have been doing and the persons we have been talking to, people they're ready now to show their support and come out and vote on election day.
Southeast St. Andrew was first contested in 1967. The JLP have won it only in one competitive election, 1980, when former PNP Cabinet Minister Alan Isaacs beat John Jr. The JLP, represented by Winston Spalding, took the seat by default when the PNP boycotted the 1983 general election. Since then, Easton Douglas, Maxine Henry Wilson and Julian Robinson have turned the seat into a PNP stronghold. But Frith, who's a businessman, says he's ready to make history.
There's a lot of youths in the community who are just basically searching for guidance. They need opportunity. There's also business people in the area who need certain support. There are elderlies, there are disabled people. Several elderlies in the area don't even know that they can benefit from pension. And then there are several persons there don't even have a full understanding of certain programs out of the ministry. How I look at Southeast, it is as if it's a company in problem, and I'm coming in as a CEO to turn it around.
Kevin Frith, JLP standard bearer in Southeast St. Andrew. A conspiracy. That's how Transport Minister Daryl Vaz has labeled a Sunday Gleaner article which alleges that a company, El Hydro, was allowed to import 110 school buses into Jamaica without proper licensing or certification. Minister Vaz has asserted that the Transport Ministry was the official and documented licensed importer of all the buses.
El Hydro would not require to be a certified motor vehicle dealer, which is a yearly certification that Trade Board issues, because these are specialized buses and they are not for resale. So this is a straightforward transaction of supplying the government of Jamaica with 110 school buses. They are the supplier by virtue of the contract that they won, and we are the importer, the government of Jamaica. So again, it is all a part of a political conspiracy with cohorts and co-conspirators, and nothing is going to derail this project to roll out September 2025. No amount of evil, no amount of wicked, no amount of bad mind, and no amount of misinformation. Take that from me.
On Sunday, the ministry issued a statement declaring that El Hydro was authorized to facilitate the importation of the buses because it is the exclusive agent in Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean for the manufacture of the bus model being used in the school bus program. He also sought to clarify that while El Hydro received permission from the Trade Board to manage the logistics, it was not required to be a registered used car dealer. This as buses were not being imported for resale but for direct use in a government program. The Transport Minister says he was not contacted by the reporter at the Gleaner prior to the publication of the story.
The Gleaner headline is totally disingenuous and erroneous. The facts are very clear, and what I'm very concerned about is that the reporter that wrote that article WhatsApps me regularly on other issues to do with portfolio responsibilities. And I don't quite understand why that wasn't done this time, so we would have not had to go through this. The fact of the matter is that the 110 buses, the import license is in the name of the Ministry of Science, Energy, Telecommunications and Transport. So no letter that has been written can override or supersede that.
Daryl Vaz, Transport Minister. 258 fewer people have been murdered so far this year. That's according to the latest crime figures from the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF. Between January 1 and July 12, the country recorded 370 homicides. That's a 41% drop when compared to the 628 people killed during the corresponding period in 2024. All parishes except Portland and St. Mary have recorded declines in murder. Both parishes recorded an increase of 1 in comparison to the number registered in 2024. Pointing to the results at a political meeting in St. Elizabeth over the weekend, the Prime Minister and JLP leader Dr. Andrew Holness said his administration has proven it can tame the crime monster.
We have the best record of getting things done. Whether it is crime and violence, right now, St. Elizabeth has a 62% reduction in murders. Nationally, we're at about 42% reduction in murders. Effectively, a problem that many of you think we could never get on top of, with a murder rate in the top 5 highest in the world, at somewhere about 49 per 100,000. We cut that in half now. Our murder rate annualized would be somewhere about 20 to 25 per 100,000.
Dr. Andrew Holness, Prime Minister. An item of regional news now. Today is nomination day in Guyana ahead of general elections set for Monday, September 1. The Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, says all systems are go for nomination activities at Umana Yana in the capital, Georgetown, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Umana Yana, recognized as one of Guyana's national monuments, is an indigenous Guyanese term meaning meeting place of the people. Hundreds of candidates are set to be nominated at the landmark to battle for places in the 65-seat National Assembly. GECOM says it's coordinating all logistical and procedural arrangements to ensure a smooth, transparent and inclusive nomination process in line with the legal framework and established guidelines. Further afield, the BBC is reporting that South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has placed Police Minister Senzo Mchunu on an immediate leave of absence amid allegations of links to organized crime. In a televised speech to the nation on Sunday, Ramaphosa also announced a judicial commission would probe the claims, which he said undermined the constitution and threatened national security. A law professor, Firoz Kachalia, has been appointed as interim police minister. The 67-year-old General Mchunu has denied any wrongdoing, saying he stands ready to respond to the accusations against him. Ramaphosa has been under growing public pressure to act swiftly over the high-profile case. Mchunu is an influential figure in Ramaphosa's African National Congress Party. Political analysts have suggested he could run for a leadership position at the ANC's next elective conference in 2027. That's the news.
Sign up for the JN Money Card. It's safe, convenient, and free. The time by JN Money is
7:18.
Rent or buy your hurricane supplies from Total Tools. Visit 102 Main Street, Ocho-Rios, 34 Slipe Road, Kingston 5, or Lot C6, Drax Hall, St. Anne's Bay. The temperature brought to you by Total Tools Jamaica is
29 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 29 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 23 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
You want to win? Then just bet. Bet on the game, no stress, no sweat, and win big in the Wanna Bet Just Bet promotion. Spend $1,500 or more on one Just Bet ticket and complete the entry form at promotions.supremegames.com for your chance to win. Third place gets Beats by Dre. Second place gets an iPhone 15 and AirPods Pro. And first place gets a 65-inch TV and a soundbar. Promotion runs May 16 to July 20, 2025. Grand draw July 25, 2025. Authorized under Section 58. Of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Want to reduce your high electricity bills? Then Peak Energy has the solution for you. From grid-tied to hybrid solar inverters with full lithium-ion battery pack. Installation and maintenance packages available. Visit us at Shop 1, 3 Mosquito Valley Road, Red Hill, St. Andrew. Call 876-279-8820 or 944-0668. Or email us at peakenergysolutionsja@gmail.com. Peak Energy for everything solar.
Time now for Street Smarts 2 with Ludlow McLean. Good morning, Ludlow.
Morning again, George, and listeners. Mullines Road, from Mullines 4 Road, that is Mullines Catcher Park, Mullines Walton Park, free flowing and going on to further up, turning onto Tarrant Drive, Wood Glen. It's all clear. Hadley Park Road clear, going through Richmond Park Avenue, Queens Avenue. All these areas are moving smoothly. Going out onto Maxfield Avenue, it was all clear. Lyndhurst Road, free flowing in both directions. And as you make it up to Retirement Road, the movement is pretty good. So you have no problems in these areas. But maybe later as the morning progresses, then things might change. But so far, so good. All right. I still want to urge our motorists that the indicator, when you use your indicator, it's so important, all right? You intend to overtake, you intend to make a turn, it's still important, all right? Part of the Road Traffic Act. As usual, at Street Smart, your safety is all concerned. George, over to you.
Thank you, Ludlow. Ludlow there with Street Smarts 2. Up next, Front Page. Front Page is brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business. For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. You're now tuned in to our discussion segment, The Front Page. On the front page this morning, continuing to focus on the rural school bus program, Transport Minister Darrell Vaz has strongly dismissed a Sunday Gleaner report that suggested improper procedures were followed in the importation of 110 school buses into Jamaica. Describing the article as part of a conspiracy, Minister Vaz refuted the allegation that the company El Hydro was not properly licensed or certified to bring in the vehicles. In a statement issued Sunday, Minister Vaz made it clear that the Minister of Transport was the officially documented and licensed importer of the buses. He explained that El Hydro was authorized to handle the importation because it serves as the exclusive agent in Jamaica and the wider Caribbean for the manufacture of the specific bus model selected for the National School Bus Program. He further clarified that El Hydro had received the necessary approvals from the Trade Board to oversee the logistics of the importation process. However, he stressed that the company was not required to be registered as a used car dealer, as the buses were not being brought in for resale, but rather for direct deployment in a government initiative. And the Transport Minister, Darrell Vaz, joins us now. Good morning to you.
Morning to you, Tana. Morning to you, George. Morning to your listeners.
Morning.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide this morning. Just to clarify, Minister Vaz, the role that El Hydro played in the importation process and why they were selected as the logistics facilitator for the buses.
An unsolicited proposal was received from El Hydro. It was evaluated. They clearly showed that they were the manufacturer dealer representative for the two types of buses that we are buying, Blue Bus and Thomas Bus, which are the two major buses that are used in the North American school bus system. That document was reviewed. It went to the PPC. PPC gave approval. It went to Cabinet. Cabinet gave approval. We have already been requested for all the documentation by at least two agencies, and those are being put together, and all information will be released in the proper format because there is absolutely nothing to hide. I want to go further to say that the Sunday Gleaner headline, followed by today's article, I consider to be part of the conspiracy to badmouth and to continue with the evil, wicked comments that are being made on the platforms and on social media by the opposition and their co-conspirators. Everybody in Jamaica knows that I'm one of the most accessible ministers, and I don't run and I don't hide, regardless of what the situation is. The reporter in that Gleaner article contacts me regularly by WhatsApp, in and out of hours, to deal with portfolio responsibilities. Silence. The only thing that transpired was a letter or an email from the Gleaner on Thursday night at 7-something, I think 7:34 p.m., not to the PS, but to the public relations arm of my ministry, setting out those questions and asking for the responses to be done by 4 o'clock on Friday. It was responded to say that we would do so in the time that we can. And the fact that that was sent us on a Thursday night with 13 questions and with a deadline with less than 24 hours shows clearly to me that that all was orchestrated to make sure they could go with the headline on the story on Sunday because they had followed the protocols of contacting the person or the ministry to do with this particular matter.
Minister Vaz, just pause up. Just pause. No, hold on. I just wanted to clarify something.
Let me just finish to make an important point.
Yes.
That article was reposted on every PNP page within minutes of Sunday morning. Yes? So I'm just saying, without fear of contradiction, that this is all part of a conspiracy to try and badmouth the buses, and it's not going to work because 99.9% of Jamaica supports it because it is a good transformative policy that will help all of rural Jamaica.
I wanted to ask you though, because I hear you speaking very strongly against the Gleaner. I mean, is the Gleaner today could be nationwide tomorrow for some other reason. I'm just saying.
No.
But hold on. Let me make the point. So I'm saying, you know that there's still, notwithstanding the clarity that you have sought to provide, and notwithstanding how accessible you have been and forthcoming about this bus issue, there are still some people who are not clear on the facts as you presented them. So don't you believe that the questions by the Gleaner and the line that they have taken to ask these questions are just part of their journalistic endeavors? Why would you go as far as to say it's a part of a conspiracy?
I say so because the Gleaner has been at every press briefing, every press conference. When I made a statement in Parliament, they were there. Neither the People's National Party or the Gleaner up to Friday, well, the Gleaner up to now, has not contacted me, asked me for the questions. The opposition asked me to explain to them exactly what is happening, what this, what that. And it is something that I do as a formula with my opposition spokespersons, my colleague members of Parliament on all portfolio responsibilities. And I find it very strange that from the Prime Minister announced the buses in March of this year, not one single solitary question has been raised with me, on record or off record, in Parliament or out of Parliament, as it relates to the buses. I do believe that it is not all Jamaicans. Some of them are clean-hearted, well-thinking, and they too have questions, and those questions will be answered. So I want to separate that in terms of good Jamaican citizens that want to find more information. But definitively, the attacks on the buses by the opposition from day one is just downright unacceptable, and the methodology and the way that they're doing it.
Minister Vaz, it was mentioned in the headline, or rather was the headline, that El Hydro was not a certified dealer for new and used motor vehicles. Why did that not matter in this particular circumstance?
So let me just remind your listeners, I was the founding president of the Jamaica Used Car Dealer Association in 1993. I was part of the one who worked with the government at that time in terms of putting in place a used car policy. A used car certification, which is done annually, and it is given by the trade board, is for used car or used vehicle dealers who are trading in motor vehicles, meaning they are importing, they are stocking, and they are selling. They would then have certain criteria that they would have to meet. In this situation here, this is a specialized vehicle, which is a school bus, which is being ordered for the government, paid for by the government, and is going to be maintained by the government. So it's a completely different arrangement and transaction, and therefore, they are the ones who are supplying the buses. The buses are being bought and paid for by the government of Jamaica, and that's where it ends. They are the supplier of the buses that they are bringing in, and oversight of everything else is by the government of Jamaica through the ministry and through JUTC.
Minister Vaz, hold the line.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to take a break. We're speaking to the Minister of Transport, Darrell Vaz, on the latest developments in relation to the rural school bus program. Take a break and come back with more on NTM.
Jamaica live good, yeah.
give up every illegal gun. Call the police at 119 or Crime Stop at 311. The time by the Ministry of National Security is
7:32.
Have you ever been to a store and felt right at home? The minute you entered, you knew that's where you were meant to be. Picture it. The dedicated One staff greet you with a smile, show exceptional professionalism, and still make you feel like family. Everything is catered to you. You know you're getting the best because to them, you're the best. That's the New Walters Pharmacy, 18 High Street, Black River. Call 965-2264 or 476-3939. The New Walters Pharmacy. Pharmacy, everything exceptional.
Are you ready to pursue undergraduate studies but you are unsure of what to study and where? Choose the internationally accredited University of the Commonwealth Caribbean UCC. We offer on-campus and online undergraduate programs in marketing, business administration, information technology, HR management, finance management, and more. Apply now at ucc.edu.jm or call 906-3000 or visit any of our campuses island-wide. UCC, fostering leadership and innovation.
Stay cool and save energy with the perfect ceiling fan for every room at prices you'll love. At Active Home Center, we've got fans to fit every space and every budget. From affordable options to premium designs with energy-efficient DC motors. Whether it's your bedroom, living room, or patio, there's a fan for every corner of your home. Hurry in for deep discounts on select fans while stocks last. Shop fans at Active Home Center in Kingston and Montego Bay. Active Home Center, more savings, more choices.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. You're tuned into our discussion segment, The Front Page, having a conversation with the Minister of Transport, Darrell Vaz, on the latest developments in relation to the rural school bus program. Welcome back to the program, Minister Vaz.
Donna, George, I just want to say something to put things in perspective in terms of where we are and where we are going. The government took a decision earlier this year that we would not go into September 25 school year without providing a rural school bus. This is something that I've been trying to do from 2023 when I took the portfolio responsibility. I went to cabinet and was sent back because every model that I work was going to cost the government of Jamaica between $8 and $20 billion per year in subsidy. We thought about using a specialized fleet within the public transportation system, paying them full fare, and dedicating a service to the school children. It came out at $8 billion. Tried another one, it came out at 15. Came out at from 8 to 20. So we decided we have to find something as an emergency because we're not going to go to September 25 with what the children have to go through, on top of which we were very concerned about the statistics that the JCF put out, which is 60 children dead and 700 injured in rural Jamaica over the last few years. So what we did was to see what we could implement in September. The only available possibility was to use the North American bus system, the U.S. bus system, which is considered the gold star globally of school buses. And we made a decision also that whatever we were going to implement was a fit-for-purpose system, meaning buses that are specifically designed and manufactured for the safety of school children.
And speaking of that, Minister Vaz, on the matter of safety, the Gleaner reported yesterday as well that the pre-shipment inspection certificates were waived for the buses, with the trade board noting that the motor vehicle, allow me to finish and then I'll allow you to respond as well, that the Motor Vehicle Import Committee granted this under what they described as compelling circumstances. So I wanted to ask if the pre-shipment inspection certificates were waived and the compelling circumstances that led to this.
Absolutely. So I'll get to that. Let me just finish what I was saying. So phase one was what we called an emergency. And the quickest and easiest methodology was to bring them from the United States. The second phase is going to be to complete the rollout of the 600 and odd schools, because this is only 258. And now that we have this 110, we now have all the time to properly scour the globe and look at all the options that may be available that would take time. Either time to manufacture, whatever it is. The bottom line is that we are not sold solely on this methodology, because obviously it has its challenges in terms of the door and left-hand drive, etc. But this was a decision made to be in a position to roll out in September 25, and this was the only option available to meet the timeline. Mm-hmm. So I want to make that clear. So this is not the next phase doesn't have to be an extension of these buses, particular buses. We will now go and do the proper research, meaning spend the time to look through the globe, look at Asia, look at Europe, look at UK, look at all the jurisdictions and see what they do and what are the comparisons in terms of what we have in Jamaica. So I wanted to make that point. The other point that I want to make now is again reminding you my previous position, other than in my current position, which was in the automobile industry. The Department of Transport in the United States sets criteria for all states to follow in relation to the annual and in some cases biannual inspection of all school buses. Mm-hmm. Those are by certified persons, companies in each state that has the recognition of the Department of Transport. All of these buses have 2025 inspection, meaning that they have passed to be able to be fit and proper to run in the United States of America. Therefore, that is a specialized inspection for a specialized vehicle. Secondly, we sent a team up there from the Ministry and JUTC engineers, because we have a fleet of hundreds of buses, so they know exactly what to look for. Thirdly, when the buses arrived here, they have to be inspected by the Island Traffic Authority in order for a certificate of fitness to be issued so that they can be registered to drive on the roads. That's 3 inspections. The reason for the waiver of the Trade Board is that Trade Board has appointed a private outfit overseas that does use vehicles. All of the vehicles coming from Japan and those places, they are not sanctioned by the Department of Transport in relation to school buses, and there is a completely inferior inspection as it relates to buses. They inspect used motor vehicles across the board, and we import maybe 1,000, 2,000 a month. So that's what they do. And therefore, it would have been a waste of taxpayers' money, because the report that they would generate would not come to the criteria that is required by the Department of Transport, as they are not certified in relation to school buses. So again, I tick all the boxes. You know why? Because I know my name is the easiest name to call. And therefore, anything that Daryl Vaz does, he does it not only to the best of his ability, but he makes sure that he ticks off all the boxes that are required to make sure that in this case we get value for money. They talk about these buses were decommissioned. Again, another wicked, evil piece of information. All of them have 2025 inspection stickers by the Department of Transport, appointed inspectors in every state that they were bought from. Yes? So that is absolute rubbish. And secondly, they have Cummins diesel engines that have a life of up to 500,000 miles, and a Allison transmission, one of the best transmissions known, and Cummins diesel engines, internationally renowned. The highest mileage on a bus is 170,000 kilometers. The lowest is about 60,000. They are doing 15 to 20,000 miles per year because they travel in the morning and the evening and are not regular buses that are plying the routes 12 to 18 hours a day. Therefore, if you do the math, you will see that these bus engines and transmissions have between 10 and 15 years of life left for the Jamaican people to benefit from. I go further. The average age of the buses is 10 years old. That's the average, 10 to 11 years old. Our public transportation system, as we speak now, the average age is 14 years. Before I brought in the 270 new buses, the average age of JUTC buses in the fleet was 14 years. And the coaster and other buses that you see in the public transportation are as much as 18 years old. So this would be the newest old buses in the public transportation fleet for the children of Jamaica, in rural Jamaica. And let me just say that this government and this minister is not going to import any buses, whether coaster or any other bus, that is not fit for purpose and designed specifically for the safety of the children, especially in light of our roads, in light of how our people drive, and the terrain and interiors in Jamaica.
To the cost now, Minister Vaz, that $1.4 billion, it has become a talking point in debates with some people arguing that the buses will cost $1.4 billion. Can you clarify what the $1.4 billion covers?
Again, I've done it about 5 times, and I'm going to do it again for you. And if I have to do it 50 times, I'm going to do it. And if I have to go on a program for the next 3 months, 24/7, 365, I'll do it, because guess what? It's important. The $1.4 billion is the same $1.4 billion that the PNP is proposing to spend to give 20,000 families $2,500 a week paid to the taxi man or the whoever man, I don't know. This situation is different. We are buying assets, 110 buses. We have to pay inland freight to get them to the locations, most of them Miami or New York, which is quite an expensive feat. We have to pay sea freight to get them to Jamaica. That also is expensive based on the size and the dimensions of the buses. Then we have to pay duty, albeit concessionary duty for government. Then we are buying 1 year worth of spare parts. Then we are putting in place a service contract for 3 years that is to the specifications that are being carried out by the Department of Transport in the United States of America. So we're not changing that. That also is quite expensive. We are putting in a cashless system in every bus. We are putting in the technology, which consists of several varying different pieces of technology in order for the parents to be able to track their children, the schools, and of course for the government to be able to monitor the bus, geofence it so we know where the bus is and if the bus comes off the route. So again, it is disingenuous to say that it is $1.4 billion for the buses and you could buy 100 coaster bus. I'm going to make a statement here. Regardless of what the cost is, if it saves one child's life come September morning from either death or injury, I will stand up and defend the program and the implementation of the program to its fullest, because the government has one responsibility. This should have been done decades ago, but that is water under the bridge. Made a commitment in 2023 when I became transport minister that I was going to do this. The government has mandated me to do it. The government has supported me to do it in finding the funds. And as I said before, we had to do this in a short timeline. And therefore, we had to make certain decisions that we had to make based on the fact that we had made a commitment that we are rolling it out in September.
Quick one before you go, and we're well over time, but let's see if you can answer this. Fire off a quick answer to this one for me. Much has been made about the emergency nature of the procurement, and you would have said something to answer that question, but restate the emergency nature of this for me.
The government of Jamaica took a decision that we are not going to wait. We have to, in the interest of the safety and security of the children in rural Jamaica, implement a school bus system in September 25. Everybody in Jamaica knows that if you were to go out to tender, etc., you're talking 2-3 years by the time the process is over. We did it. We followed the rules. We got PPC approval and cabinet approval. We treated it as an emergency, and I will defend it to my death. If it is that in the second round, when we have more time, we can do and go wider and see what else is available and whether there's any cost savings to that, glory. But right now, September morning, nothing and nobody and no amount of evil words and evil thoughts are going to stop it.
Last one is this. Many people are making much of the fact of the use of the word new in a letter from the trade board chairman in response to you and the bus purchase. Clarify that for us.
I can only indicate that is either administrative error or oversight. The Prime Minister announced it in Parliament in his budget presentation as used buses. Everything that I've said is refurbished buses. The licenses, every one of them, some of them have been on social media over the last few days, even before the Gleaner article came up, which states clearly the importer is the Ministry of Science, Energy, Telecommunications and Transport. Everything has to be on the license. No letter allows you to import. The only thing that allows you to import, and every vehicle must have a license from the trade board, is a trade board import license that you pay a fee for, and it has the year, the model, the make, and all of the information on it. And we have imported 26 in the first batch, 18 in the second batch. So all of those licenses have that. And the ones to come this week and next week and the week after, all 110 will be imported as used school buses with trade board licenses issued to the government of Jamaica.
Last one. Speaking of buses, bus. New JUTC buses, when are those due? The latest batch?
I'm handing them over. Well, the Prime Minister is handing them over to JUTC at Portmore on Wednesday, and that would be 93 out of the 100. The 7 special needs buses come in August, and that will make 270 new buses in 2 years, unprecedented in the history of this country, and paid for by the government of Jamaica without any loans. I'm going to give them bus after bus after bus after bus, JUTC bus, school bus, any bus that can help the people of Jamaica to transport in a decent and civilized manner, whether adults, elders, or children. That's my mission.
Thank you this morning.
God bless you all.
Transport Minister Daryl Vaz.
Bird fried chicken always ready. Bird Shack, original crispy. Bird Shack, Cajun spicy. Bird Shack, a barbecue. Bird Shack, we are go a Bird Shack.
The time brought to you by Bird Shack Fried Chicken in Kingston, Montego Bay and Ocho Rios is
7:51.
At Hawkeye, our mission is to deliver cutting-edge security solutions to help you keep track of the things you value most.
The temperature by Hawkeye is
29 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 29 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 23 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
Have you ever been to a store and felt right at home? The minute you entered, you knew that's where you were meant to be. Picture it. The dedicated One staff greet you with a smile, show exceptional professionalism, and still make you feel like family. Everything is catered to you. You know you're getting the best because to them, you're the best. That's the New Walters Pharmacy, 18 High Street, Black River. Call 965-2264 or 476-3939. The New Walters Pharmacy. Pharmacy, everything exceptional.
The Island Traffic Authority administers the provisions of the Road Traffic Act, which speaks to road and vehicular safety. The entity tests driver competence for the issuing of learner's permits and driver's licenses, in addition to testing vehicles for roadworthiness. We have 15 service hubs across the island ready to serve you. Visit our social media pages at Island Traffic Authority to learn more about our services. The Island Traffic Authority, steering safety, inspiring change.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. Turning our attention now to the political hustings. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness, he was in St. Catherine last evening in Old Harbour for the Area 2 Council Gospel Concert, and he took a subtle jab at the opposition leader Mark Golding, implying that the PNP president's recent misstep at a political meeting in St. Anne may have been the result of being drunk on power. Golding had earlier apologized for using an expletive after becoming visibly frustrated by a faulty microphone while addressing supporters in Southwest St. Anne on Friday. Speaking at the gospel concert hosted by the GLP's Area Council 2 in Old Harbour, St. Catherine, Prime Minister Holness cautioned against the intoxicating nature of power.
I've had a conversation with Everett, and you notice that tonight he made a deliberate attempt to stay on his script. And so it is in the era of politics that we are. When we speak here, and I'm speaking to several thousands of people here, but when you take all the independent broadcasting that is taking place, I'm looking at several phones pointed at the platform, and they are all reaching hundreds and thousands of people independently being broadcasted. So every speech you make is being broadcasted and is cutting across various segments of the population. There are some people who won't take offense to some things that you say, but there are others that will. And some politicians will calculate, all right, who am I going to offend and who am I going to gain? That is what you call the popularity game. As leader of the country, I don't have that luxury to play the popularity game. I still have to serve all publics, all people of Jamaica. And no matter what is said and what is done, ultimately, I am the standard bearer for the standards of the country and the society, and I cannot compromise that. So my brothers and sisters in Christ, it is a blessing to be gathered here in Old Harbour, not just as members of a political movement, but as people of faith, united in the belief that God is sovereign over all things, including politics and governance. There are things that I will readily admit that it is not within my control. And politics, it is like liquor. When you drink too much of it, you get drunk. And people get drunk on power, but even the fumes of power can get you drunk. Some people have gotten drunk on just the fumes of power.
Dr. Holness also directed remarks at PNP General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell.
We are reminded tonight that even on the political platform, the standards of righteousness must not be lowered. Our politics must reflect the wholesomeness of our people and the spiritual values that we must uphold as a nation. You know, we live in a time where the modern thought is that we are all free to do what we want to do. In other words, there are persons who would want you to feel that freedom of choice, freedom of expression, the freedoms that we have means that there is no standard. There is no value. And unfortunately, value has been reduced to what you can buy, meaning that we confuse the value of morality with the value of money. And even political parties sometimes get into that game where we seek to make commitments and promises about how much money you're going to get. And not enough time is spent on how we're going to truly improve the quality of your life, how we're going to make you better, happier, spiritually whole and sound, more peaceful, more caring, more environmentally conscious. These are important values, important things that our politics need to embrace, and we need to consider it. I raise these issues here because, after all, this is a gospel concert. So, there are those who have used the political stage primarily to bring down people, thinking that popularity can be earned through profanity. But I say to you, as I have written to my political party to say, we are not in a race to the gutter. It is said that the General Secretary of the opposing party has said that if we go low, they go lower. We don't join that. We are not into that. No, we can't do that. The Jamaica Labour Party does not and will not trade the dignity of the people for denigration and disgrace. No, we are not going to do that. We must be guided by Psalms 19, verse 14. Let the words of our mouth and the meditation of our hearts be acceptable in thy sight. Oh.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness speaking at a gospel concert hosted by the GLP's Area Council 2 in Old Harbour, St. Catherine on Sunday. Going to take a break now for Across Jamaica.
Front Page was brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
8:02.
Success, powered by learning. The temperature, brought to you by Sandals Corporate University. Come grow with us, is
29 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 29 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 23 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
From the mountainside to seaside, countryside to townside, inside and outside, it's across Jamaica this morning.
In across Jamaica this Monday morning, a high alert has been activated for 6-month-old Demiana Barnes and her 14-year-old aunt, Brianna Baker, both from St. Catherine addresses. The two have been missing since last Tuesday, July 8. Brianna is of dark complexion, slim build, and about 5 feet 4 inches tall. Baby Demiana is of brown complexion and slim build. Reports from the Linstead police are that about 5 p.m., Brianna and Demiana were last seen at a family member's home in Angels, Spanish Town. Brianna was wearing a long-sleeve Puma shirt and yellow and green slippers, while Demiana was dressed in a pink blouse with green leggings. All attempts to contact them have proven futile. Anyone knowing the whereabouts of Demiana Barnes and Brianna Baker is being asked to contact the Linstead Police at 876-985-2680, the Police 119 emergency number, or the nearest police station. Port Royal is now a World Heritage Site. In a release over the weekend, the Culture Ministry says the decision to inscribe the archaeological ensemble of 17th century Port Royal was made at a meeting of the World Heritage Committee now underway in Paris, France. Olivia Grange is the Minister of Culture.
Inscription to the World Heritage List supports our national efforts to preserve this heritage for all humanity. We're grateful to all who played a role in this successful nomination, which allowed us to reveal the site's attributes and showcase its global value. In this regard, I express appreciation to the World Heritage Center, the International Council of Monuments and Sites, the governments of Mexico, Canada, the Netherlands, and Japan, as well as the people of Port Royal, whose livelihood is inextricably linked with the preservation, promotion, and sustainable development of the site.
Olivia Grange, Minister of Culture. Port Royal joins the Blue and Jonker Mountains as Jamaican sites on the World Heritage List. Finally, in across Jamaica, 2 teenagers have been charged with larceny from the person following a broad daylight robbery in Ocho Rios, St. Anne on Friday. One of the teens has been identified as 9-year-old Calvin Williams, otherwise known as Duplex of Buckner, Mape and Clarendon. The name of the other has not been released. The Ocho Rios police say at about 1:40 p.m. on July 11, a woman was standing along Main Street when she noticed the 2 males approaching her. One of them allegedly grabbed her handbag and ran. As her phone fell from the bag during the incident, the second teen reportedly picked it up and also ran off. Luckily, a policeman who witnessed the crime apprehended the accused and took them into custody. Williams and his accomplice were charged after the woman gave a statement implicating them. They're scheduled to appear in the St. Anne's Parish Court on Tuesday, September 2. And the previous sentence about a 9-year-old should have read 19-year-old Calvin Williams, otherwise known as Duplex of Buckner, Mape and Clarendon. The name of the other teen has not been released as he's underaged. And that's it for Across Jamaica for this Monday morning.
In Jamaica, your rights are protected by our Constitution. From the right to education to freedom of expression, every citizen deserves respect and dignity. But remember, with rights come responsibilities. Let's uplift and respect each other and stand against injustice. Together, we can make Jamaica a better place for ourselves and future generations. Know your rights. Embrace your responsibilities. This message was brought to you by the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs.
Passion and vibes, and through it all there's a glow inside. Let's keep our shine alive.
From the market to the factory floors, from the hillside green to golden shores,
we're reaching heights, our energy that lights the sky.
JPS, power in what matters.
Welcome to Inside Customs, brought to you by the Jamaica Customs Agency, country above self.
Welcome again to Inside Customs here on Nationwide 90 FM, a production of NNN and the Jamaica Customs Agency, where we talk about those important entities related to Jamaica Customs and their extensive work that are critical in bringing in revenue for the country and ensuring that businesses have the wherewithal to thrive and strive. Last week, I started a conversation with the CEO of the Jamaica Special Economic Zone Authority, Kelly Dawn Hamilton, and there were some strings left untied. We shall hope to tie them today in the time that we have. Kelly, good morning and welcome for coming back.
Thank you so much for having me again.
Excellent. All right, so let's get right into it. So, could you identify some of those sectors inside the SEZ that are operational, and among those, which ones would you say are poised for growth?
So the Special Economic Zone Authority has a strong history with the global digital services sector, and that covers specifically business process outsourcing, knowledge process outsourcing, and all things tech and digital. And so we've seen tremendous growth in that space over the years, and it has certainly been one of our key sectors, critical sectors, and high growth sectors. Now we're also seeing quite an influx of companies that are interested and seeking to diversify their supply chain and stabilize their supply chain and ensure that they are hedged against any unforeseen circumstances, in the current dispensation. Now with changing policies, etc., countries and companies are looking for that stability. And so Jamaica provides just that. And so we're seeing an uptick in companies that want to use Jamaica as their nearshore location. And it makes perfect sense. I mean, we have about 20 shipping routes coming into the country, shipping lines coming into the country, and our flights, we have 3 international airports, yes. one coming in Negril as well. So the opportunity for cargo coming in and out of the country is almost a no-brainer for us. And so what we need is companies that are going to fill the bellies of the planes and that are going to send these ships back out with Jamaican goods. And so that is the opportunity that we're seeing for manufacturing, logistics, warehousing. We have a number of companies that have been knocking on the door asking us for SEZ warehousing space because they want to take advantage of the SEZ benefits and they need warehousing. So for companies that are building out that kind of space, looking into logistics, the SEZ is that perfect opportunity for you. Yes. In terms of diversification of industry, I want to just share the opportunity presented through German Ship Repair. Yes. And this is a ship repair company that is doing dry docking services right out by Rockfort, yes. Right? And that changes the face of what Jamaica has to offer. Yes. So now when ships are passing, they can stop and get their ships serviced and fixed, repaired right here in Jamaica. We have about 60,000 ships passing us. There is no reason why every single one of them shouldn't be serviced here in Jamaica, yes. Creating employment for our country and, of course, investment and other opportunities. Because, where you have when you have a company or a sector developing, it's about the entire ecosystem around that and the services that will be supplied. And so this is where our MSMEs can take advantage. Remember, SEZ companies do not pay GCT, and so they are incentivized to purchase locally because they have this cost advantage. And this is where our MSMEs can take advantage of a company being SEZ. If you can't come in, you can provide services to Special Economic Zone designated companies.
Where the SEZ is concerned, one of the questions I reflected that I should have put to you the last time we spoke is this: how does the fact that Jamaica is an English-speaking country in close proximity to the United States, so language, the educational profile of Jamaica, even though we complain at home about literacy and so forth, not high enough, but how does the factor for the language we speak, the fact of the education of the people in business and people available to do business and our proximity to the United States make us attractive for persons looking for somewhere to enter an economic zone and do business from?
That is our key a major advantage for us. Our time zone, our English language proficiency are all key factors in what makes Jamaica that ideal location. And then let's face it, what makes Jamaica so unique and so in demand is our people. Mm-hmm. It's the heart of our country. Our Jamaican people, we work hard. Yes. When we work, we work. Yes. When we go on the field of play, we play. We work hard. We work hard, man, and we do it to win. And so, especially in the customer experience side, that's why in a sector like BPO, companies keep coming back. We are top tier when it comes to service. And so, all of these things come together perfectly to make Jamaica the place of choice to do business. Yes. And that's what we're seeing. Companies continue to come and knock on the door. Yes. One of the things I should share, which is a major opportunity for us that we're actively looking at now. So domestic companies currently cannot come into the special economic zone. Mm-hmm. And that was a function of base erosion and profit shifting. We didn't, when the legislation was established, we didn't want to create a situation where we were blacklisted, because companies would then be able to move from the domestic companies that are paying taxes into the safety of SEZ, for want of a better term, but they would be paying less taxes. Yes. And so that principle is called base erosion and profit shifting. We have an opportunity now in 2026 where that timeline comes to an end. And so we are actively looking at where are our priority sectors, what are the opportunities for our domestic industries to come into the SEZ. And so we are actively working on that now to create opportunities for our existing players in the space. So SEZ, we get a lot of questions and our comments rather about SEZ being for overseas companies. That's not the case at all. SEZs, we want Jamaican companies specifically to take advantage of the opportunity. We will handhold you. There is no question that we won't answer, particularly with our partners at Customs. Customs has been the key driver in making SEZs work. And so we continue to work with them. I mean, sometimes the line between Customs and SEZ, you can't have one without the other, right? So they are our close partners, and we continue to work with them to identify and to help our companies to take advantage of the opportunities that exist.
Absolutely. So you predicted my next question. So that leaves me to ask you, though, between 2016 and now, so 9 and 6/15, so 9 years since the... 10. The 10th, yes. No, right. 10 years deep. Well, 9 plus.
Sorry.
So we're in the 10th. Well,
the 10th is 2026.
Yes,
yes.
How would you characterize when you looked at the stated objectives of the Special Economic Zone in 2016 and the incremental way you've been able to make improvements to the environment, the companies that you've added, the reputation that the SEZ has gotten over time, the development of companies in it, and the way the legislative environment around customs and other financial considerations are concerned in the country? When you take all of that together, how would you describe the first 9 years of this authority?
So the early years were rough.
As you'd expect.
I won't sugarcoat
as
that.
You'd expect,
They were rough because you didn't know how it would work practically. We had a legislation and now we had to implement. So, of course, there were teething pains. I am very happy to say that 9 years on, we're past that. I remember when the authority started, it started with 4 or 5 people, right? We now have a strong team of persons who are so motivated to help our clients to get to where they want to go. And the reason why we're so client-focused is because without them, there is no authority. Correct. There is nothing to move. So we get into the lives of our companies from the perspective of our job is to help you grow. And from starting at from that viewpoint for us, it's a far cry from where we're coming from, right? And so to me, that is a great sign of success. The other sign of success for us is the growth of the company itself and the people who work in the organization, the young people who came in who never had a clue about where this would go and where their own careers would go. And, I'm talking about the people in my organization because without them, We have no authority. Without them, our private sector could come knocking, but there would be nothing to show for it. We have a program where we take our interns and we move them through professional development. We have an example now. My director of investment promotions and communications, he came in as an intern. So, yes. Kevin Farquharson. So that is a big deal in terms of growth of the organization. It is about two things. One, how do we help our clients get to where they want to go? And more than help, what enabling environment do we need to create to do that? And two, for the people in our organization, how do we tool them to come out better Jamaicans, better professionals, and highly engaged and motivated to give back to our country, to work within a government space? It's not easy. Yes. It's not easy at all. Yes. I mean, for my colleagues at customs, we are quarreled with all the time. We get cussing, right? Because the space that we occupy as regulator dictates that there are certain laws that we must follow. Yes. But success, I think that the authority is doing a great job. The team has done a significantly good job in terms of getting us to this point 9 years later. Certainly, we have more to go. Certainly, we have our own vision of where we want to get to in terms of our application processes being online, things being more streamlined, more efficiency in our processes, and we will get there.
Right. And when 10 comes next year, you'll be here doing another interview talking about 10 years deep into the SEZ. Thank you this morning, Kelly Dawn Hamilton. All the best to you.
Thank you very much.
She's the CEO of the Jamaica Special Economic Zone Authority, and she stressed the very important and close partnership that they have with the Jamaica Customs Agency. This has been Inside Customs, a production of Nationwide 90 FM and the JCA.
That was Inside Customs, brought to you by the Jamaica Customs Agency, country above self.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
8:19.
Fontana Pharmacy has a wide variety of items from pharmaceuticals, household, cosmetics, toys, and more. The Temperature by Fontana Pharmacy. It's all good inside is
29 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 29 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 23 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
Are you looking for a place where your imagination can blossom into something amazing? Where you can be as creative as you dare with facilitators who will prepare you to succeed in a global career? Or maybe you're looking for a place that practices tertiary level education in a practical way? Then you belong at the Vocational Training Development Institute, VTDI. Become the best you can be. You belong here. VTDI, empowering people, transforming lives.
Tune in to Cliff Hughes Online Thursday, July 17 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. as we broadcast live from the Special Entrepreneurship Grants Presentation Ceremony at 61 Hagley Park Road. Through the Local Economic Development Support Program, over $10 million will be awarded to 250 grassroots entrepreneurs in sectors such as health and wellness, food and agro-processing, art, craft, fashion, and more. Join us as we celebrate Jamaica's entrepreneurial spirit during Cliff Hughes Online Thursday, July 17 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's the Special Entrepreneurship Grants Presentation Ceremony. Catch the live stream on our YouTube channel at Nationwide 90 FM Live 2. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the Social Development Commission.
(8:21) on this Monday morning, Monday, July 14, 2025. You're with the Nationwide This Morning program. This is the front page. Well, the U.S. Embassy is pleased to announce that applications are now open for the Hubert H. Humphrey Fellowship Program. It's a prestigious Fulbright Exchange initiative that builds global networks of leaders dedicated to addressing critical global challenges. For more about the program, I'm being joined this morning by the Public Affairs Attaché at the U.S. Embassy in Kingston, Mike Lavallee. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, good morning, George. Thank you for having me on to talk about this important program.
And how are you today, sir?
I'm doing well. Loving every day in Jamaica.
Excellent, sir. As you should, as you should. All right, let's get cracking, Mike, because the first question to ask, the obvious one, is what makes this Hubert H. Humphrey Fellowship Program provide a unique opportunity for Jamaican professionals?
You know, George, it really is unique. As you said, this Humphrey Fellowship is a prestigious U.S. Department of State non-degree program that brings accomplished mid-career professionals from over 140 countries, including Jamaica, to the United States for 10 months of professional development and cultural exchange. The fellow would be based at a university, but it's not your typical academic program either. Humphrey Fellows don't just sit in classrooms. They gain hands-on experience, build lasting networks, and sharpen their leadership skills in fields like public health, education, law and human rights, environmental sustainability, economic development, public policy, and more. For a Jamaican, this program is an incredible opportunity. It allows you to grow as a leader, connect with professionals from over 140 countries, and gain insights that can make a real difference back home here in Jamaica.
Whoa.
Whether you're working, in government, in civil society, education, or the private sector, the Humphrey Fellowship equips people with the tools, experiences, and international network to amplify your impact here in Jamaica. It's not just about professional growth. It's about becoming part of a global community of change makers.
Yeah, as a beneficiary of a U.S. State Department program way back in about 2012, it may have been. It was only 3 weeks, but I felt empowered. I can't imagine what a 10-month program can do for you. How does this Humphrey Fellowship differ from the other Fulbright initiatives, Mike?
Well, yeah, and also let me, up front, I do want to let people know that the deadline for this program is July 25th, Friday, July 25th at 10:59 p.m.
11 days from now.
Yes. So as we speak here, if you become more and more interested, jump on our website right away where the application is online. It's jm.usembassy.gov. And you'll see the application there. But again, the deadline is July 25th at 10:59. The way that this differs, the goal of the fellowship is to enhance leadership, really, among international professionals who can then collaborate to address local and global changes and also foster change for our collective good. This program, the Humphrey Fellows, has been around since 1978. And it is a continuously growing global network that shares practices and builds expertise in fields of critical importance to advance societal and institutional capacity to promote growth in home countries after returning from this experience. It provides future leaders and policymakers with experience in U.S. higher education, also its society, culture, and professional organizations. That the program provides a basis for lasting and productive ties between the United States and professional counterparts. It really is a huge difference when you are able to participate in this program.
Yeah. Mike, I can imagine that the successful recipient of a Humphrey Fellowship would have to possess key qualities, things in their field of experience that mark them out as being special. Therefore, what kind of candidates are being sought through the application cycle?
Yeah, a good candidate for a Humphrey Fellowship is really someone who's already making a difference in their field, but wants to do even more. We're looking for mid-career professionals with at least 5 years of experience in their field who have shown leadership, integrity, and a commitment to excellence, and also, of course, the greater good. They must be a Jamaican citizen. They can't have dual citizenship and stuff. They must be a sole Jamaican citizen. But also, you don't need to have a PhD or be a top government official. What matters most is your drive to grow, your openness to learning from others, and your passion for using your skills to help make your community and country better. Whether you're a farmer working to find new techniques to develop sustainable land, a civil servant pushing for greater governance, even a scientist trying to break new ground, or a journalist defending press freedom, this is about tackling complex social issues. And if you're dedicated, curious, and ready to collaborate across borders, then you could be a strong candidate for the Humphrey Fellowship.
Yeah.
It's about potential, purpose, and the desire to lead positive change. It's
Yeah.
not about titles.
Yeah. Mike, you spoke at the top about, the fact that people won't be stuck inside a classroom. So that's not what the 10 month of experience is set up to provide. What, though, can participants expect in real terms? Give them a practical guide as to what they will be exposed to over these 10 months.
Yeah, sure. Happy to talk about that a little bit. During this fellowship, Humphrey Fellows will participate in a non-degree study program at approximately 13 host campuses across the United States and complete at least 6 weeks of a professional affiliation at a U.S.-based government, non-governmental or in the private sector or with an international organization. Each campus has at least one designated faculty coordinator for academic and administrative support. In addition, faculty advisors assist fellows in pursuing balanced academic and professional programs. Even though fellows will spend time in an academic setting and are able to enroll in classes, the focus of this fellowship program, as you said, is far beyond the university campus. Professional enrichment activities include professional visits, enhancement skill workshops, conferences, training programs, and a professional placement with a company in their field. The professional affiliation provides first-hand exposure to a U.S. work environment on a full-time basis for a minimum period of 6 weeks. These professional affiliations strengthen fellows' connections with American colleges and allow them to contribute directly to U.S. communities by bringing a global perspective to issues in their professional fields.
Mm-hmm.
It's an opportunity to show Jamaican excellence to the United States and at the same time benefit from American excellence.
Yes. But the clock is my enemy now, Mike. But what advice would you give to those who want to apply but believe that, are my qualifications, are my chances, how do I assess those? Even though I want to apply, I'm uncertain about those two things. What would you say to them?
Yeah, no, I can completely appreciate that. But if they're going to apply, candidates should show they have both the need to participate in the program and the potential to benefit from it. Accordingly, they should demonstrate the required experience, skills, and commitment while also indicating how they can benefit from this program in ways that they have not experienced previously and are not likely to experience without the Humphrey Fellowship. Prospective fellows should have, as I said, have a minimum of 5 years full-time professional experience, and they have to have a post-undergraduate degree in the relevant field and should be interested, should show high interest, and show that they are a leader and already making change in the field where they want to specialize.
Excellent. And how do people apply again? You said it at the top. Can you repeat that?
What was that, George? I'm sorry?
Yeah. Can you repeat how people can apply? You mentioned it at the top. Can you repeat it?
Yeah, of course. And of course, this is also fully funded, and it's run through the State Department, as one of its programs. But yes, the way to apply is to go to our website, jm.usembassy.gov. We also have it across our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and X, formerly known as Twitter, of course. And that is at U.S. Embassy JA. So again, the deadline is July 25th at 10:59 p.m. If you're interested, go to our website today and take a look.
Excellent. 10-month, fully funded, non-degree professional development program is a Hubert H. Humphrey Fellowship Program, a prestigious Fulbright Exchange initiative. The U.S. State Department wants the best of us to offer ourselves to increase our capacity to do even more for this country. Thank you this morning, Mike. All the best to you.
Hey, George. Thanks so much for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Public Affairs Attaché at the U.S. Embassy in Kingston. I said it like my African friends would say it. Embassy. That's how my friend from Kenya said it. The U.S. Embassy. Yeah, that's the Jamaican way. Public Affairs Attaché at the U.S. Embassy in Kingston, Mike Lavallee. They're talking about the Hubert H. Humphrey Fellowship Program. Break time. Back with more after these.
The time by Grace Good Move is
832. Have you ever been to a store and felt right at home? The minute you entered, you knew that's where you were meant to be. Picture it. The dedicated one staff greet you with a smile, show exceptional professionalism, and still make you feel like family. Everything is catered to you. You know you're getting the best because to them, you're the best. That's the New Walters Pharmacy, 18 High Street, Black River. Call 965-2264 or 476-3939. The New Walters Pharmacy. Pharmacy, everything exceptional.
Tune in to Cliff Hughes Online Thursday, July 17 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. as we broadcast live from the special Entrepreneurship Grants Presentation Ceremony at 61 Hagley Park Road. Through the local Economic Development Support Program, over $10 million will be awarded to 250 grassroots entrepreneurs in sectors such as health and wellness, food and agro-processing, art, craft, fashion, and more. Join us as we celebrate Jamaica's entrepreneurial spirit during Cliff Hughes Online Thursday, July 17 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's the special Entrepreneurship Grants Presentation Ceremony. Catch the live stream on our YouTube channel at Nationwide 90 FM Live 2. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the Social Development Commission.
The ITA Corner is brought to you by the Island Traffic Authority, steering safety, inspiring change. Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. It's time for ITA Corner. Of course, ITA Corner is back. ITA Corner is brought to you by the Island Traffic Authority. Today, we're discussing a very important topic, road and vehicular safety, and the crucial role of the Island Traffic Authority in enforcing the Road Traffic Act 2018. Joining me is Manager of Corporate Communications and Public Relations, Dante Matthews, who is in studio with me. Welcome back, Dante.
Hi, Tana. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. So first, Dante, if you could start by giving us some crash statistics. What's the latest data?
Sure. So up to this morning, Jamaica lost 203 lives on our roadways. That's a 3% decline when we compare to the corresponding period last year. Mm-hmm. Last year, this time would have seen 209. And we would have hoped that the decline would have been better because we were seeing double figures in terms of the reduction. We're seeing 15%, 16, as high as 20% at one point since the start of the year. But now we're down to 3%.
Are you able to give us breakout data in terms of what demographics or which road users?
Yes. So the motorcyclists are leading with over 50. Mm-hmm. Then we have private motor vehicle drivers, then pedestrians. The age group, the 20 to 34 age group, those are the troublesome categories, or the troublesome age groups, I should say.
Mm-hmm. All right. So hotspot areas across the island. What are those?
All right. So there are many hotspots across the island. When we look at, for example, Kingston and St. Andrew, we're talking about Constant Spring Main Road. We're looking at the Bull Bay Main Road. Even Mandela Highway. In St. Catherine, we're looking at the Old Harbour Main Road, PJ Patterson Highway. In St. Anne, the AJR Byfield, Discovery Bay Main Road, the North Coast Highway, especially in the vicinity of Saltmarsh. In Trelawney, Rose Hall Main Road. In Westmoreland, we have the Nonpareil Main Road, Bustamante Highway in Clarendon. So many hotspots across the island, and we've been seeing frequent crashes on these roadways.
And what's happening in different hotspots? For example, perhaps in one hotspot, you have people always breaking stoplights. In another, you might have speeding.
So we're seeing
you might have jaywalking.
Yes.
Who knows? What's happening in the different hotspots?
So we have speeding in a lot of the hotspots. Speeding without... with no regards to the condition. So if it's raining, people are speeding. The road is dry, people are speeding, overtaking improperly. And that's something we've been stressing, the importance of proper overtaking, because persons think that once they see or once they think it's okay to overtake, they just overtake. But that's not the case. That's not the case. We're also seeing pedestrians walking out or standing in the middle of the roadway. We're also seeing persons distracted on the roadway or undertaking, right? Turning without due care. So you're trying to turn into a building. You just turn without waiting or until you get the go ahead. And as you mentioned earlier, breaking the traffic signs.
So we're focusing this morning, Dante, on road and vehicular safety, those best practices and functions. What would you say are those best practices when we talk about road safety?
All right. So we know that we're in the summer, right? School is out. Family members are coming down. Parties are going to be keeping. Some have started already. So when it comes to road safety, we want to ensure that for pedestrians, proper walking on the roadway, crossing at safe places. And when we talk about safe places, we're talking about a pedestrian crossing, a pedestrian bridge. We're talking about where there's a traffic light, when the light is on red for the vehicles to stop, and all vehicles must come to a complete stop, not a rolling stop.
Yeah, please repeat
right?
that.
All vehicles must come to a complete stop before a pedestrian attempts to cross the road, right? And when they're crossing, they should ensure they look properly. And we always have to stress this. When you're looking in Jamaica, we look to the right first, then left, then right again. We also have situations where pedestrians are distracted. So you're crossing the road or walking on the road and you have earphones in, headphones on, and you don't hear
their phones
on the phone, so you don't see that a car is overtaking. You don't hear a vehicle honking the horn, right? So that's a problem. When it comes to the motorists now, adhering to the speed limits, observing and obeying traffic signals. So we're talking about the lights, the signs, so the stop sign, and when there's a stop sign and a stop line, you stop at the line. For the motorcyclist, protective gear. Right? Very important. So your helmet, certified helmet, right? That will give you maximum protection. Knee pad, elbow pad, gloves to keep you safe. Also, very important for drivers, defensive driving. And we always say defensive driving doesn't mean you're going to drive down the next person and defend yourself because they bad drive you.
Yes.
It means you're going to plan your routes accordingly, right? So you know you're going somewhere. If you know it's going to take you 2 hours to get to an event, right? You need to know what time you're going to leave out in order to get there and give yourself enough time. So just in case you need to stop for, to use a bathroom, to get something to eat or attend to something on your vehicle, you want to give yourself enough time. You want to observe also. So keep a watchful eye on the roadway and other road users. And it means checking your mirrors as well. Right? Check your mirrors every now and then. You can't be driving and not knowing what's going on beside you. You have persons that will creep up beside you. You have persons that will try to overtake you, right? Yes. You also want to anticipate. So expect the unexpected. Expect that, this driver might bad drive you. They might not put on their indicator. So you're not going to tailgate them. So you're going to expect that maybe they'll break up. And when we talk about the indicator standard, that's very important as well. And I heard it mentioned earlier, I think it was Ludlow. He mentioned the use of the indicators. You indicate when you're turning left or right, when you're pulling over to stop, right? You want to indicate your intention to the motorists or other road users so they know that you're going to be making or changing direction. So that's very important as well.
On the matter of the motorcyclists, and you're mentioning what they need to do about their helmet or the protective gears. I see a lot of motorcyclists out there wearing slippers.
Yes, that's bad practice. They should be wearing hard boots. The slippers and shorts, they wear slippers and shorts. And when they fall off the bike or crash off the bike and their skin is drawn on the asphalt or wherever, then their toes are damaged and their skin is torn. So we recommend wearing long pants, hard boots, and cut out the wheelies and the dilly-dally and all of those things. Stay in your lane, right? Very important.
I see one of our YouTubers, MS here, saying motorcyclists must stop squeezing their way through traffic.
Lane splitting. So yes, they have been doing that a lot. And one of the things that we find also is that some of them remove the mirrors from the bike, or they bend the mirror so that the bike is slimmer to go through traffic. And we want to encourage them to stay in the proper traffic lane. That's very important. A lot of our road fatalities are because of persons not staying in their lane.
Yeah, you were mentioning, Dante, that it's summer, people are coming down, the parties are already happening. Any particular advice for party goers?
Definitely. Have a designated driver.
Very
you're
important.
going to a party, you're going to drink. Don't expect to drive or don't even try to drive. if there's a group of you, one person in that group must commit to not drinking. Somebody has to take you home, right?
Yes.
So have a designated driver who can commit to not drinking, right? That person should be able to set departure time or arrival time. That person should be able to ensure that persons are buckled with their seat belts, right? You want to also ensure that you leave out early, as I mentioned, with defensive driving. Plan your routes accordingly. Do not speed. There are 3 types of distractions. You have the manual, the cognitive, and the visual. So the manual is when you take your hands off the steering wheel.
Mm-hmm.
The cognitive is when your mind is off the road. So you're thinking about something else. And then the visual is when your eyes are off the road. So you want to ensure you're not distracted. Because, when you have your friends and your family that you have not seen in a long while, you want to talk and you want to laugh and even laughing or just simply turning your head to look at somebody can be a distraction. So practice being focused when you're on the road.
Yeah.
And don't drink too much.
Indeed. And the loud music as well.
Yes. That can be a distraction because you're singing along. Don't realize that you're breaking the speed limit because you're having a jolly time on the north coast or the south coast, wherever you choose to go to party.
Yeah.
Just be cautious, right? Very important. And for the children that are going to be home, parents ensure that because they're going to want to go and play, maybe with the neighbor's house. They're going to want to go to stores with family members. Accidents or crashes can happen in parking lots, in communities as well. So it's very important that children look out, or parents, watch over their children as they play.
So those road safety tips are also important for your children. So you mentioned the road safety tips, Dante. What about vehicular safety?
All right. So with vehicular safety, you want to check your vehicles regularly. Right? Ensure your vehicles are serviced. That's important, right?
Yes.
But before going on a journey, especially if you're going on a long journey, you want to ensure that your lights are working, right? Your obligatory lights, your indicators, your brake light, your headlights, right? Because you don't want to leave when it's bright and then when it's time to go home, and let's say you're leaving at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the night, you realize that your lights are not working, and then that's a recipe for disaster, right? We're also in the hurricane season. So you want to ensure that your windscreen wiper, the wiper blades are working. You don't want a case where it's raining and you turn on the wipers and then they fly off, or they're malfunctioning. That has happened to me before, right? So you want to ensure that you check your wiper blades. You want to check your engine, your oil, right, your coolant level. As I said, persons are going to be driving long distances. So check your vehicles, check your tires. A lot of persons don't know that tires expire, right? So tires have an expiration date. There's a code on the tire that tells you the manufacture date. So if you see, for example, 24, 25, it would mean that the tire was manufactured in the 24th week of 2025. But let's say your tire has 2020, right, the 20th week of 2020. It's 2025 now. Those tires should be changing. And of course, the tires can change way before 5 years because you can be a frequent driver.
Yes.
You might drop in a pothole. You might have bulges, cuts, blemishes. So you want to change them before. So check your tire, your tread depth level. Check the air as well. Ensure that it's inflated properly, right? And walk with a jumper cable as well, right? Check your spare tires, ensure that those are in proper order. Walk with a first aid kit, just in case something happens. It may not be for you, but you may be able to render assistance to somebody else on the road.
Yeah. And I see Dreview saying here, if you drink, call a taxi. Yeah, that can be something that you do.
Make arrangements for you to get home. You don't want to be the person drinking and you're intoxicated and then you're driving yourself home.
Yeah.
And even for persons who walk too. Because persons drink and then go on the road and they walk and they can verge off footpath and end up in the roadway. That's
true as well. That's true. M-Jam saying check tires for bumps and bulges.
Yes, very important. And some people have the tire inflator kit. So if they don't have the spare, because a lot of vehicles don't come with the spare tire, they come with the tire repair kit that has the slime. You can make use of it. But if you want, you can get a spare tire as well, especially if you go on long journeys. Let's say you're coming from Morant Bay, you're going to Negril. You want to ensure you have everything in your vehicle, right? Full up on your petrol, have extra cash if you need to stop and buy something for your vehicle. You want to ensure your vehicle is roadworthy.
Yeah, ensure that your phone has enough battery life as well.
Yes, so carry your power bank or your car charger. You may need to reach out to somebody. And if it's a long journey, you may want to take somebody else with you that can, share the driving.
Absolutely.
So you drive to the event, the person drives back. So, because fatigue driving is also a cause for concern.
Yeah, I've heard so many stories over the years of people, quote unquote, sleeping off.
Sleeping, yes. And then drifting. So because they're tired, they're drifting onto the soft shoulder or the hard shoulder. They're not keeping a steady course.
Yeah. Any final tips you want to give this morning, Dante, on this topic of road and vehicular safety best practices and functions?
Yes, just for persons to cut the speed, look out for other road users, be your brother's keeper, teach road safety to your peers, your children, your family members, encourage them to, when they leave home, the aim is for them to get home safely.
Absolutely.
Right? So encourage them. And a lot of our fatalities are among our males, over 80%. So we want the women and the children to appeal to the men, right? To slow down, look out for others, wear your seatbelt, put on your helmet, all of those. And before we wrap up, Ton, I want to remind our road users that this morning there's a webinar at 10 o'clock. The new digital certificate of fitness and motor vehicle registration certificate is taking effect next week. Mm-hmm. So there's a webinar at 10 o'clock. Hosted by the Tax Administration of Jamaica, of course, with partners such as the Island Traffic Authority and other stakeholders. So we'll be giving all the information you need to know about the two, the e-fitness and the e-motor vehicle registration certificate. Mm-hmm. So persons can log on. I sent the link to the producer, but it is also on the ITA's Instagram page in our bio, Tax Administration and the Ministry of Science, Energy, Telecommunications and Transport. So persons can log on and learn more about these two. Of course, in subsequent ITA corners, we'll discuss the fitness process under this new regime.
And I look forward to that. Dante Matthews, Manager of Corporate Communications and Public Relations at the Island Traffic Authority, talking to us this morning about road and vehicular safety best practices and functions. Thank you so much, Dante.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Take a break and come back with more. The ITA Corner was brought to you by the Island Traffic Authority, steering safety, inspiring change.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
8:49.
I've been praying for the rain, praying for a way to get through. All I wanna do, yeah. All I wanna do live a little, breathe a little, and want to enjoy life. Cause every move to make a pickle, no matter what you trickle, cause things so alright. All I wanna do is live a little, breathe a little, and want to enjoy life. Cause every move to make a pickle, no matter what you trickle, cause things so alright. It's the pleasures and pressures of life we look down to, so try your best to make time for joy when the sorrows and pain of life sets on you. We both know that there is no choice, cause every lesson is a blessing. No stressing, no guessing. Life is for the living, we know. We just live it to the fullest and let the good times flow. Cause all I wanna do is live a little, breathe a little, and wanna enjoy life. Cause every move to make a pickle, no matter what you trickle, cause things so alright. All I wanna do is live a little, breathe a little, and wanna enjoy life. Cause every move to make a pickle, no matter what you trickle, cause things so alright. Hey, I've been feeling a little frustrated, feeling so lost. So many days that I have been working.
That time of the morning when we tell some very special people happy birthday and happy anniversary. Happy birthday going out to Annette Lamoth. It's also the birthday of Tricia Ann Booth, Dimitri Reed. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday as well to Keish Angus, celebrating your big one today, Keish. Happy birthday. Wishing for you a wonderful day. Jean Sellers saying belated happy birthday greetings going out to her daughter, Keisha Powell, and her son, Siobhan Powell. Belated happy birthday to both of them. And she's saying it's coming from all of your friends and your family in Ballards Valley, St. Elizabeth. More life to you both. So belated happy birthday to Keisha Powell and Siobhan Powell and her son, Siobhan Powell.
When we come to Ballards Valley, Gene, we want dinner. Okay? So make sure so the pot a bubble on the wood fire, yeah?
Some nice southern food
Yes,
indeed from Jean. Who else is celebrating a birthday today? Do let us know.
Lifeline Canada Center says happy birthday to Capel Anderson. So Capel Anderson, Lifeline Canada Center is saying happy birthday to you. And then Capel Anderson joined the chat to say, Tona, today is my birthday. So Capel, big up yourself, Capel.
Happy birthday. Scrolling on down.
Rupert Wilson says, happy birthday to my son, firefighter O'Dane Wilson from Morant Bay. Enjoy your 30th birthday, son. May this decade be filled with adventure, growth, and unforgettable moments. So father to son, Rupert, to his son, O'Dane Wilson, a firefighter. O'Dane celebrates 30 years on this earth, and Rupert is sending you all the best wishes.
S. Marshall sending belated happy birthday greetings to nephew Jermaine Spencer. Belated birthday greetings to you, Jermaine. Hope you had a good one coming from your aunt S. Marshall.
I hear it's Lawrence Rowe's birthday. Lifeline Canada Center says happy birthday to Lawrence Rowe. Shower labor rights, eh? See Lawrence Rowe? Oh, yeah, listen to me. Okay, Lawrence Rowe, former PNP caretaker in Central Kingston. Happy birthday to you. Lifeline Canada Center is bigging you up on this morning of mornings.
Happy birthday. Grace Fully Broken sending belated happy birthday blessings to Pops. Sergeant Rowe, who celebrated 81 years at the crease yesterday, batting towards a century from wife, children, and grannies. Enough love, Pops. So belated birthday greetings to you, Sergeant Rowe, a.k.a. Pops.
Sidonie Wilson says belated happy birthday greetings to friend Nadine Deacon, who celebrated her day on Sunday, wishing her all the best. So Nadine Deacon, Sunday was your birthday. Your friend Sidonie Wilson is sending belated happy birthday greetings to you.
Here's another for Lawrence Rowe. Arlene Rowe sending belated happy birthday blessings. She says to my intelligent cousin, Lawrence Rowe in Central Kingston. His birthday was yesterday. So again, belated birthday greetings to you, Lawrence Rowe, from your cousin in the chat.
Then Arlene
Rowe.
You never tell us Lawrence your cousin all this time. You see, still?
No, right?
She never tell me that. You saw it? King. Oh, I know. It slipped us, King. King says she did, but yeah. So all right, Arlene. Withdraw that. King says you did. King says you did.
Belated happy birthday.
Daphne O'Connor says happy birthday to Dale O'Connor, who celebrated his birthday on Sunday. Blessings coming from mom and dad and the rest of the family. Hope you had an enjoyable day. Daphne sending belated birthday greetings to Dale O'Connor, who celebrated his birthday on Sunday.
Did you see this one from Rupert Wilson?
Yes, I did that one. Richie General says happy birthday to Mr. Bailey, aka Don from Brownstown in St. Anne. So Don from Brownstown, St. Anne, Mr. Bailey. Richie General says happy birthday to you.
Arlene Rose sending belated happy birthday blessings to her friend Thomas Amanda, aka Miriam from Oxford Mall Arcade, aka Bat Market, and lives in Brooklyn. Her birthday was yesterday. So belated birthday greetings to you, Amanda Thomas, friend of Arlene Rowe.
Jacqueline Small says belated happy birthday greetings to my cousin Silvera Castro. Is that the Silvera Castro from the Minimum Wage Commission or the committee? I think so, because that name is unique. Silvera Castro, happy birthday to you. Jacqueline Small sending belated happy birthday greetings to you.
Did you see this one? Nadine Deacon?
Yes.
So
Desnem says happy belated birthday to yours truly. So Desnem, aka Mendez, celebrated a birthday on Saturday the 12th. So 2 days belated, but nevertheless we're putting the greeting out there. So Desnem, belated happy birthday greetings to you.
And Stargirl, happy birthday to her brother O'Neill Thompson. She's saying love you. So happy birthday O'Neill Thompson from your sister Stargirl here in the YouTube chat. Are those all the birthdays now? You got
so.
This one as well, Silvera Castro.
Yeah, man.
And Mr. Bailey, aka Don from Brownstown, you did that
Yes,
one. Dale O'Connor.
Yes.
And Shyla Henry.
No.
Belated happy birthday blessings to granddaughter Shyla Henry here in Bronx. Her birthday was on the 6th. So happy birthday to you, Shyla, from your grandma, Arlene Rowe. And did you see this one? Romaine Smith?
No.
Alex Smith is sending belated happy birthday greetings to brother Romaine Smith, aka is this Niga? That's how you say it, Alec? Coming from your big brother in Mexico, who is saying, love you, bro. So belated happy birthday to you, Romaine Smith, from your bro, Alex Smith.
Sidney Wilson, you're saying, Tona, why haven't you read my greetings? Today is my birthday. Well, Sidney, we're seeing it now. Happy birthday to you, Sidney Wilson, foundation member.
Yeah.
Strong member. Happy birthday to you. Hope you really enjoyed today, Sidney Wilson. Happy birthday to you once again.
Happy birthday, Sydney. I join George in wishing you a wonderful day. Shines Law Boss sending happy birthday to Richie Law. He said his son, Richie Law. Happy birthday to you, Richie Law, from your dad here in the YouTube chat. Shines Law Boss.
KTB Weller says, George, on a serious note, Arlene always have 10 birthday a day, you know, she know the world. She come like Sergeant Wallace. The great Sergeant Wallace.
One Dread sending belated birthday greetings to Cherry Burgess, is it? Cherry? Was your birthday. Hope you had a good one, whichever day it was. Belated birthday greetings to you from One Dread.
Portland 60 says, belated happy birthday to Dahlia Davis of Property in St. Andrew from sisters Zell, Iona, and Veronica. Wishing her all the best. Her birthday was on Saturday. So, Dahlia Davis, your birthday was Saturday. You are from Property in St. Andrew. And your sisters Zell, Iona, and Veronica are sending enough love your way. Yeah, your birthday was on Saturday.
Eileen Beecher sending belated happy birthday blessings to daughter Ashikia Thompson. Greetings from your twin and the rest of the family, your one brother and two sisters. So belated birthday greetings to you, Ashikia Thompson.
Doreen Serju says happy birthday to Krista Serju. Well, it says Derju, but I think it's Serju. So Krista Serju, Doreen sending happy birthday greetings to you.
So if you're celebrating your birthday today, happy birthday to you. If it's your anniversary, happy anniversary to you as well.
Breathe a little and go and enjoy life. Cause every more could make a mickle. No matter what you trickle, cause it's so wild. So much to learn, so much to see. So grateful.
That's about it for the show. Thank you so much for tuning in to Nationwide this morning. Thanks to our technical operator, the musical maestro, Jermaine King, our super producer, Michelle McCray Smith, Jeneth Ramsey. Belated birthday greetings to nephew Orain Ramsey, and happy birthday to nephew Karoni Ramsey from Auntie in Canada. And that's the final one I got in there. So up next is...
Did Herman's own?
Herman
says belated happy birthday to my daughter Kim. It's her mine. A Herman. Not true, Sandre. Sandre said her mine. Yeah, I think you're easy out. Siobhan said her mine too. Oh my God.
Herman, belated birthday greetings to your daughter Kim from Mommy. Hope you had a good one, Kim.
And Jean Sellers say, anytime, George, you are welcome. Yes, Jean, I travel with the two calabash them come down. What the place them? Ballards Valley? Yeah, man, two
just
calabash. One for the salting and one for the food.
Good country speak. Up next, the Consumer Hour with Norgay Banton, and at 10, Cliff Hughes Online. I'm Tana.
And I'm George.
Good morning.
Check. Hey. Oh.
So grateful. So I destroy my enemies when I made them my friends. Loose lips talk of mischief, some live in false pretense. Look at what we do for them, see what a thanks we get. But a good man.
You've just heard Nationwide this morning on Nationwide 90 FM.
So Jah provides the bread, contentment is my bed, on which I lay my head at night. I've got food upon my table, I've got clothes upon my...
Fearless and fair. Nationwide 90 FM.